Hello. We're back for what is turning into an absolutely mammoth recap of B2A, the Imperial Diplomacy game. I'm here with Tyrant. Hello, Tyrant.
Hello.
We have gotten to the end of the fourth year of the game at the end of 6 hours of recap, and a lot of big
Speeding
things
through
have.
it.
Yes, a lot of big things have just happened. So Portugal has come in uh, 6 hours before deadline and flipped the tables on everyone, piecing out with Spain, stabbing me, stabbing France. Lots of things are happening here. Ute has now stabbed all of his neighbours at the one time and is at war with everyone.
It was a bold play, is how I prefer to look at
That
it.
is a good way of putting it. Okay, so despite the bad year I've had, I have 4 builds, and Ute with the stabby year has 2 builds.
Oh, also, just to clarify, this wasn't the year where I stabbed all my neighbors. That was the previous year, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Because I've already pieced out Inuits at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is the year where Ute has pieced out Inuits.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Ute the Peacemaker,
and
how I prefer to.
Athapaska, who is your vassal.
Yeah, at this point.
Yep.
At this point, I'm still not quite. Oh no, at this point, I think I'm pretty sure they're good. Yeah. Because they've been helping against Inuit, and I've helped them into Ojibwe. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, they've just helped me take a dot from France as well. So right now I'm good with Athabasca, stable with Inuit, and fighting Spain.
Yep. Very
And
good.
also last year Spain stabbed France, right?
Yes. Spain and Portugal stabbed France
Right.
and the Netherlands, whoever they weren't already at war with. I think we did cover builds at the end of last video because I remember talking about the Connecticut
Uh,
disband and the England disband. So
oh yeah, we covered that. Okay, we can move on to
yep.
moves then.
Let's have a look at some moves. And we'll start, as always, with the Ute position.
Right. So after Spain stabbed France, France and he basically immediately peaced out. My entire pitch to France has been, look, I'll keep fighting you a little until you start fighting Spain. So the moment they started fighting, I immediately turn around and try to like disengage from France as much as possible.
Yep.
My negotiations with Spain at this in this moment are the past 2 move phases. I tried piecing them out, or at least we were negotiating a piece, and every time they broke it. And also, I don't know if I mentioned it last video, but their excuses both time were very weak to the level of, I decided it in the last moment. I don't even know why.
Yep.
So this is the third phase in a row that I try arranging something with Spain, and they just we decide on some way to de-escalate, and they just completely don't go for it. Here, our deal was that they would give me what's the name of the province? Nova Vizcaya.
Yeah, Nueva Vizcaya.
Yeah, they would give me Nueva Vizcaya, and then we would have a pretty small border of like 2 units each that we can defend pretty easily without being too aggressive to each other. And we would pivot again, or I would pivot against France, was what I was offering to Spain at this moment. And like every other phase, I'm not really expecting them to go for it because the deal was basically they give me a dot for free. So I'm sort of following through with my end of the deal, but also doing other moves that like position against Spain. And again, they break it.
Yeah.
Other than that, they are moving to fight France. They bounced me out of Nova Vizcaya. On the Inuit front, I think there isn't anything too.
Yeah, so I like this move set from you around the Great Plains, and I'm just having a look at it because really, if Spain tries and holds Cherokee here, you blow up this army. Oh yes, because you're occupying Winnipeg, you're occupying Dakota, you're occupying every province around the Great Plains. So it would have blown up this army if there was not Caddo to retreat to.
Oh yeah, I remember like going over and over these moves because I really wanted to blow up GPL 3. because I wanted to kick it out of GPL, but also if I kick it out, it means I have to cover every possible retreat. Because
Yep,
if they retreat to
Dakota.
Dakota, it takes me 4 armies and 3 phases to deal with it, basically.
Yep.
Uh,
And this is where having the Atapasca army on your side is really advantageous, because they can just help you surround them.
that really came in clutch here.
Yep.
I think I was also considering some. Oh yeah, I think I was considering some movesets where I tap Kado as well, but I ended up supporting Apache because I didn't want. Oh no, there were a bunch of different movesets I was considering here. I think there was one which would have blown up GPL3 here because I wanted to bounce myself over Kado, but ended up not wanting to risk Apache.
Yeah.
And decided that okay, them retreating somewhere is better than staying in GPL. So, like blowing it up would have been nice, but not worth the risk.
Yeah. And fundamentally for you, a Spanish army in Erie is worse for France than it is for you, or for me. I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's part of the negotiations I do with Spain next phase. They are in position to fight France. I kind of want to fight France before they're done dealing with England. So my pitch for a year and a half now, and it keeps being pretty much the same, is can we please just pivot to fighting France together now while we have the chance?
And they should want that. But yeah, I guess if you're asking for dots, it can be a bit hard for them to stomach.
Yeah, exactly. If you pan to the Inuit front, I don't think anything too interesting happens there.
No, it looks like a bounce with Portugal.
No. I don't know if I don't think I commented in builds. The army build in Equalit. I remember. So I saw that and in the capital, and I was pretty sure at the time that was basically a deal between them and France. That they were trying to peace out France, so they built away from France. But that army is actually pretty aggressive towards me.
Yeah.
Because it has nowhere to go except towards me.
Yeah, and the provinces are big. It can convoy across if there's a couple of fleets or...
Yeah, or just one fleet, really, in Arctic Ocean.
Yes, true.
So I talked them. I talked to them. They guarantee that they won't move to Nunavut, which I think would have been a pretty. They easily agreed to that because it would be too telegraphed. But the thing that I'm actually worried about is them moving into Arctic Ocean and then convoying in the next phase or next year, because I wouldn't really have a good way to defend against that.
Yeah.
And luckily, in this move, Portugal makes a good guess and bounces them out of Arctic.
Yeah, and
which is really big for me.
Godfab guaranteed in the fall, right?
Yeah, it weakens Inuit and guarantees that they cannot, or it delays the attack that I'm expecting by at least one phase.
Yeah, and we'll come to the colonial dynamics a little bit later on, because there's a big move on this map that we haven't seen yet. I've been deliberately avoiding panning over to, because I'm going to talk about it while we're not looking at it. Is there anything else on your position?
No, that should be about it. Everything else is pretty much just arranged or bounces that check for... Yeah, nothing much really.
Too easy. So we can see I'm getting out into Gulf Stream here because I think we took the risk that Spain knew they wouldn't be able to take Jamestown. They could have taken Jamestown, but we get a nice move set off because Spain want to move into Erie. So I think that was in collaboration with you and France. I think we had some kind of three-way chat going, or it might have all just been me as the conduit. I'm not sure.
And it was. I don't think there was never a three-way chat between. It was like one-on-one convos, mainly with you, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm quite happy I've got this off because Spain could have just walked into Jamestown, but I took the risk of that they assumed I would support Holt. And Gulfstream is obviously a much better province for me to be in than Jamestown with a fleet. So there's a lot it can do. France get a fleet out as well.
And also, if you hadn't, this would have been a pretty bad. Spain could guarantee Jamestown.
Yes, and I think that's what they were going for. I think they were going for France under pressure to not do anything pro-me because they're worried about Seneca, and then use Erie to tap Maryland and guarantee Jamestown. I think that was the idea.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that I'm
this
in
overall
position.
is, I think, a pretty annoying moveset by Spain. Like they're fighting three of us at the same time and being. I think it's a good moveset by Spain.
Yeah, no, it's getting into Erie is a really good play here. I was worried about Tutelo. I was happy to see Erie. I think I'll put it that way. Across the board, I am continuing to fight Spain, and France is now finally fighting Spain. So in a way, this whole dynamic being flipped on its head is quite good for me, because France is now working with me against Spain in the Caribbean, which is what I have wanted for so long. So I support them.
Yeah, same. The Spanish stab changed my game a lot.
Yep. I support them into Cap Haitien, and they don't even get the chance to retreat to Caribbean Sea, which is really nice. We take Caracas, which is fantastic, and Gulf of Paria went for a greedy Guyana Current move, which always going to cover, right? Like, come on. So, yes, so I get into Caracas. That army can't retreat out into the ocean, so I'm not too worried about it. So it's going to come down to Orinoco, but I've plugged the hole in Belém, and Spain have continued to turn around to deal with their Mapuche problem. So they kick Dan, they blow Dan up in Quito, which is a bit sad, but hey, has to happen. The people of the Netherlands will never forget the bravery of the great people of Mapuche. Yes, so...
Mapuche is still alive though, right?
Mapuche is still alive, yes.
Australia.
Indeed, and Mapuche will continue to be important going forwards. Aymara come up into Quechua, which once more I'm like, oh, come on. Like, there's going to be threat on Ipurina. There's going to be more 50-50s around Japura and Ipurina, particularly because I've moved out of Amazonia. I was pretty happy that I got Goiás across to Amazonia here. So one of the things you'll remember from last phase was I supported Portugal into Chiquitano with the promise of Nkugu, and they then denied it. So immediately after this, when Portugal stabbed me, I said, Sting, I'm so sorry. I will support you back into Chiquitano. One thing I totally forgot to mention last episode was that if we go back to spring moves here, Guarani was very worried about Portugal when they did these moves here. And the Guarani player Sting came to me and said, hey, I'm pretty worried about Portugal here, and I think that you are as well. So how about we say that the two of us set up a mutual defensive pact, where if Portugal declare war on one of them, the other will come in. Oh, sorry, that actually happened, I think, at Builds back here. And Guarani approaches me about the mutual defensive pact, and I look at it and I think I really don't want to be at war with Portugal over here, because I'm going to work with them against Spain and Aymara. And Ayutthaya. I made your mistake. Brilliant. And so I think I don't ever want to agree to this pact, because if Portugal declare war on Guarani, that's good for me, and I'm just going to let them do that. But I do also kind of have a little bit of a worry that Portugal might stab me, so I agree to the pact.
But I'm sorry, aren't you at war with Portugal already? Didn't they stab you last year?
This is before this last year's moves.
Okay.
So, yeah, I forgot to mention this last episode. So Guarani sets up this defensive pact with me, and then immediately Portugal stabbed Guarani, and I'm like, fuck, like, I wanted more time to figure out this relationship. And so immediately Guarani's like, their ploy to get me to work with them has paid off immediately, because they're like, hey, the pact is in action immediately. And I'm like, yeah, I've got Spain to worry about up here, but I'll support you against them in the fall. And particularly when we come to fall moves, I promised Guarani support. I think I said I wouldn't support them into Nkugu this phase because I had to worry about Spain. And I then supported Portugal against them immediately. And yeah, so Guarani were not happy with me here because I'd made a defensive pact with them and then immediately gone back on it. But at the same time, I've just been stabbed by Portugal, so we have reason to work together. So I did just say to them, I fucked up. Portugal played me. I keep showing this move accidentally. So don't rewind in the video and look at the move I'm spoiling by scrolling too far to the right, everyone. But yes, I support Guarani into Chiquitano, and the whole idea is we're both going to collapse in on Portugal. So I'm hopeful that we're going to have a good push on Portugal here, and that I've turned it around. I move into Moritzstad. The St. Marcos Bay move is a little bit nasty, but that's one of the reasons I'm moving into Belém is because I'm worried about St. Marcos Bay here. So I've got South Sebastio, Moritzstad, some kind of a 50-50 here, but there's also 3 armies on Moritzstad, so there's a chance I can lose Moritzstad again in the fall.
Can
I
you
now
even defend
need...
it? Don't they have 3 on it?
Sorry? Yeah, well,
What's in
there's...
Atlantic?
I don't want to show you what's in the Atlantic right now until I talk about this
I
move.
don't remember the move you're talking about. Okay.
So, if you'll remember, the colonial dynamics right now are that Portugal has done this big stab with 3 hours notice and come in. And I think Portugal realized in the ensuing moves afterwards that Spain had no friends and me and France had lots of friends.
I just remembered the move.
Yeah, you've just remembered the move. You can see the line in the top corner right now.
Oh no, I didn't because of colonial dynamics, but yeah.
Yes, and
probably the best move in the game.
I am not happy with Portugal at all because they've come in, they've stabbed me, they've changed everything, and it's the second time a Portugal has done this to me. So at this point, I'm sick of it. I'm pretty salty about the small phase. But France starts cooking because, as I mentioned last game, France knew Portugal from a previous game and liked them, which is the reason I think that Portugal was able to get that big stab off, is because they won the trust of France. And one of the things, and we'll go to the clean map to talk about it, is in Europe we have a French army in Nantes. And it's a little bit nasty. But right before the end of the phase, while everyone's still at war with Portugal and Spain, France says, oh, by the way, I'm just planning a huge gambit here, let me cook. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they say, oh, about port. And I say, with port or against port? And France says, don't worry, it's not anti-you. And I'm like, what is going on? Because the plan at this point, and I'll talk about it on the clean map here because I can show both moves at the same time. The plan here for these fleets is to convoy my Utrecht army into Normandy because we want... I think France was really worried about losing Paris and wanted me in the area to help them take it back. And I personally love the idea of being convoyed into Normandy because I could be the one taking all these dots, which sounds good to me. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm coming over here and then we're going to kill Portugal over here. And France somehow manages to make this happen.
Yeah.
And we see Nantes to Cape Coe. This huge convoy on the board. And Cape Coe, keep in mind, is a French dot that Portugal is getting into. And there's supports coming down from both of these armies that look very funny on the map, but they are indeed supports for Nantes to Cape Coe. And France basically just went, well, I'm happy to kind of start ceding South Africa to you as long as you leave me with a strong Europe. And, I mean, it's a really good plan because Nantes can move to Paris. Spain's coming. It's pretty dangerous for France in Europe. So Arctic absolutely cooked getting this to happen. So
I think this completely saves his position. Yeah. Because Portugal and Spain going after them, they had basically no front line against them, and they're still fighting Austria as well. So getting rid of the Nantes army is huge. This was a really cool move.
Yeah, very, very smart, and it kind of makes my convoy to Normandy pretty useless, which I'm not all that happy about, because, I mean, now I'm just in Normandy, and yeah, very weird.
It doesn't make it useless, it makes it a bit anti-France, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can talk about more of these moves. So Portugal evacuates, Spain moves up, France retreats about half of their armies from the Austrian front because they want to keep pressing in on Austria. But yes, this is a nice way to kind of contain Portugal if they do move to Paris. And I've got this army in here, and we're going to be able to get them back in. There's a few cores going on here. So once again, I'm very happy to see Sweden not stab me, because we got a fleet building Christiania, which could be a bit worrying. But there's a couple of cores going on here that were agreed across the board. Bremen and Berlin was agreed between me and Sweden. I didn't expect them to core Gdansk as well, and I kind of went to them and said, hey, if you're coring Gdansk, can I please core Oxford? As like, we're just making sure that we have a lot of build opportunities, and we're not going to stab each other with them. And the idea is they want to build in Berlin to attack Austria, France. I'm going to core in Bremen so that I can attack France or Austria. And also, like, we can build against each other if we need to. So we kind of negotiated these cores through. I was very happy to finish this core in Bremen, because that's a really nice build spot when Kiel and Lübeck are always under threat. We see France continuing to make progress against Austria despite backing away, which is quite funny. We see Sweden continuing to make progress against Russia in quite a damaging way, and the Ottomans are pushing in, and Russia's not having a good time here.
Russia is kind of collapsing after the stab, after the stab.
Yeah, Russia will probably take Ireland here, but it's still not a great position for them here. And Russia were desperately trying to get me to stab Sweden, and I just kind of was never going to stab Sweden here. They've been a good ally, and I don't want to turn what I thought was like, well, where the fuck else are these fleets going to go except into me? Because they can take this area, and then they've got 3 fleets in the Baltic. So I was trying to negotiate situations where Sweden were never in a position to properly attack me.
What was the deal with their fleets in the Baltic? Like, what were you asking them to do with them? Because they have 3 dead fleets at that point.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think I start asking them, like, hey, well, because they keep saying they need to keep building more fleets up here, and I'm like, the fleets kind of threaten me a little. Can they be armies over at Russia? And they kind of agree to start, like, they'll move their fleets out through Scania, Skagerrak, or Gothenburg and stuff out to get them out to where they can actually be useful, which takes a long time, given there's 4 fleets in here. So this,
and also in the meantime, kind of makes for a better stab against you until they're completely.
Which is why I really wanted it to be through Scania and not through like the Sound, because I mean that just puts them next to me. So, and I'm kind of a little worried that a stab's going to come at any time. So every single one of these phases, I'm worried that Sweden will stab me. Let's keep looking. We continue to see fighting. I think this might have been agreed because France and Portugal started agreeing stuff. I knew that Portugal we're going to do something to take these dots here. I could have supported Ouagadougou, which is a little bit sad, but I didn't want to lose Agadez, so I think this is fine because it keeps Spain out. I move up to House of State, so I'm much more secure in Agadez here. I get this army up. Hey, remember how you thought that it was such a bad excuse by Congo that they were going to convoy this army to Sao Tome?
Yes, I think I believe. I don't know if I remember, if I knew, because I remember they end up doing it, but I kind of believed they would do it. It just sounds like such a bad excuse, and I never would have believed it in the moment.
Yeah, and Portugal certainly, and I'll bring this up on the screen, Portugal messaged me right after this build. I think I brought it up last video, and they said, hey, so Congo's stabbing you, right? You need to make sure you can cover them. And you can see I'm moving Nuri to House of States. There's nothing to defend Fernando Po if Congo walk on me. But I was just like, I actually do believe that they are going to convoy to Sao Tome, so I'm just going to go with that. And we see Congo re-engage on Portugal. We see Vlad never punished in Fernando Po. We see an army in Sao Tome. I start moving out towards Niani, so I've got options on this front now. I am much more happy with my African position now, even though obviously I'm recovering from this Portugal stab, but it's not too bad. Yes, so it's the crazy move down here. I think this was all agreed. I think they wanted to try and consolidate. So it was Portugal get some dots in areas where they're strong. France will take somewhere like Sakalava while giving up Cape Koe and probably Mupondo in the future. They're starting to peace out. Congo and Adjuran appear to still be fighting, but Adjuran is also kind of pushing up on Abyssinia to finish them off. I think Adjuran starts helping Ottomans against Spain at this point, which is interesting. Well, Spain, because I think Abyssinia and Spain were kind of talking, but Abyssinia's on 3 dots. They're not doing too well. This move's important because Travis was not meant to take Bandar Abbas. You'll remember they did the nice convoy into Ahmedabad last year, but this move pissed Portugal
they weren't
right
meant
off.
to take it at all?
No, they were meant to leave Portugal Bandar Abbas. And I mean, like, when is Safavids ever going to leave Portugal Bandar Abbas?
Yeah, that's when you explained it last time. I just assumed that it was like a 1 year delay or something because Safavid is never leaving that there.
Yeah, but Slay does not like this at all and is a bit like, okay, screw you, Safavids, you've taken my dot. This is the big play that I was planning to make, which was evacuate Indonesia and pivot on India, and it almost comes off really, really, really well because Bellari moves to Raichur, which means that nothing is next to Cochin.
And you
except
have
that Hyderabad
well.
can retreat to Bellari.
Oh, yeah.
So Hyderabad can come down and cover Cochin. So it's a little bit sad. Yes, I get Madurai guaranteed. I was thinking I was probably going to bounce Portugal and Palyakar, but they didn't build in Cochin. They didn't move to cover me. I think they didn't see this coming whatsoever. So I think this was a misplay by Slade, but I like this because Portugal's board top, they're the ones that have just stabbed me. I'm trying to reach some kind of peace with Ayutthaya by going, hey, I am rotating against the person that stabbed me, take your 2 dots and we'll be fine. I like this because we see them actually move up to Siakar Coast. They don't move to Bay of Bengal, which would have been a very nasty move. So very happy to see Ayutthaya not move to Bengal. Ayutthaya were meant to let me out through Palembang, and I understand why they didn't, but I did say to them, I'm evacuating, please let Java Sea move to Palembang so that it can move out to Indian Ocean the next turn, because I wanted to flood India with as much as I possibly had. Ayutthaya don't do this. I kind of understand it, because what if I try and defend myself? And they're like, well, I mean, they're doing more pro-me stuff than they honestly probably should this phase, so I can't be too unhappy about not getting into Palembang. And I've got to retreat to Java here, so I can at least try and stop Spain from getting Java the next turn.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if they were worried about you defending, you could have defended from Coco's base anyways.
Yes.
So probably would have been better to just let you through.
I kind of agree, but it's a hard call, and when I've been holding that line all game, it can be hard to believe I'm going to pivot away until you see it on the map. So now I think it's a bit of a worry because Java Sea is kind of stranded. Celebes Sea bounces with Spain and Halmahera Sea, which I'm very sad about because I think Spain were assuming I was going to go to Zamboanga and they wanted to kind of surround it to retake. I was making a play to go for Danny because, as you can see, Portugal actually do move fully away from Danny. So if I get into Halmahera Sea here, I've got a guaranteed take on Danny. Alas, it was not to be. But I can retreat to Zamboanga, which I'm never going to hold, but at least it'll make Spain have to cover their ass for a turn. I think that's probably the sum of the stuff that matters for me here. Spain's making progress against Tokugawa. Russia, Qing and Ming and Mughals are doing Russia, Qing and Ming and Mughals things, and Safavids, as always, is the one capitalizing. Ayutthaya is holding and not killing Portugal for some reason. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's probably all for moves. We'll have a look at these retreats that matter. And Portugal do indeed move to Bellari so that they can cover Cochin, which I'm very sad about, because obviously this fleet can't move through the wall and go to Cochin. So I've only got one on Cochin, and it's most likely going to bounce. Okay, my thing is the colonial dynamics, because France has just cooked with Portugal and has gotten this army out of Nantes. And France thinks, okay, I need to actually make this something, and really, really starts encouraging me to peace out with Portugal. Now, Portugal have just made me evacuate Indonesia, Portugal, I have completely pivoted against in India. Portugal, I'm holding the line okay over here, and I've just supported Guarani against Portugal in South America. So it's always going to be tricky to try and peace with Portugal, and I don't have much trust for them given the fact that they tried to stab me previously. So the way I approach this, and it becomes clear in press that Portugal kind of does want to peace me out because they've realized that they don't actually have friends in these situations because Spain was always going to be the wrong person to ally with because Spain have no relations with anyone except for Ayutthaya. And
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't talked about it much, but Spain has been pretty inactive the entire game. They're doing remarkably well, given how little they talk to anyone.
yeah,
So they're not the strongest ally to have.
yeah,
I think somewhere around this point, I'm complaining to you how it's annoying that Spain is doing so well and no one is fighting them. When they don't talk at all.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, they're a tactically sound player. I mean, Ballpit Jones knew what he was doing throughout this game. He just didn't press much.
mm.
There were maybe some disband choices that were a little bit interesting later on, but we'll get to those. I think I kind of encouraged this view in Portugal's mind a little bit by completely kind of mind gaming them about the whole Congo thing. Because Portugal was so sure Congo was going to stab me and that I was going to need to scramble. And when I said, they're going to stab me, I said to them, like, nice try. And they said, I mean, what the fuck else is that army going to be doing? And I said, wouldn't you like to know? And then, like, they were talking to me after the moves about the convoy. They were like, how the fuck did you get that to happen? And I said, like I told you, I've got friends and Spain does not. You picked the wrong person. And I think this stuff starts working because Portugal starts properly talking with France and I about trying to peace. And at this, I'm thinking, well, I'm open to looking to peace Portugal, but I've made a whole lot of moves to take dots from them. So I'm going to continue to take dots. And, Portugal in negotiations with me is trying to say, like, oh, hey, so you can take some dots back from me in South America, and I'll take some dots from you in West Africa, and then we can peace. And I said, no, I don't need this peace right now. You do. If we are peacing, I am taking the dots back from me that you stabbed from me. And that means Ouagadougou, that means Timbuktu. Well, I don't know if I mentioned Timbuktu by name, and that might matter next move, as you see.
Uh-huh.
But I said I'm going to take back Moritstad, I'm going to take back Ouagadougou, and I'm taking compensation in India for losing these dots over here. And of course, I can't take full compensation, but I say to them, like, hey, I'm taking Madurai and probably Maldives eventually, so please don't do that. We can bounce in Cochin to make sure that we're fine, but I will be making sure that I can get enough back from you. And amazingly, Portugal seems to want peace despite the fact that I'm just going to take a bunch of dots back from them. There's a lot of very, very, very tense
The peace
negotiations.
deal is you get like 3 dots from them?
Yeah, and basically peace them. So there's a lot of very tense chats in the three-way chat because Arctic clearly feels like they're going to reach peace with Portugal. And I am clearly very, very worried because of what happened previous fall, where Portugal peaced us and then immediately stabbed us. And so I keep saying to Arctic, like, I am not going to do anything that is bad for my position. If I see positive moves on the board from Portugal, then I can consider piecing them. Yeah, so that's kind of the line I'm going in with to look at these moves. And I'll leave that percolating in everyone's minds about what might happen here, about what might happen here. Pause the video and have a look if you want. What might happen here with Portugal. And not so much what might happen here, but there's a few areas. And we'll go to moves.
Before moves, the one thing that matters about my position here is, so as I mentioned, me and Spain have been talking, and for the last 3 phases we came to an arrangement, and then they just didn't follow through.
Yep.
Which I wasn't particularly bothered by because I wasn't expecting them to go through with it. But it's after last moves that I go really hard on them in press. Where I basically say, okay, fuck it, we're death warring from here on.
Okay.
Why should I talk to you if every single time you just don't, every time I try negotiating with you, you just do it so that all you do is get me to do suboptimal moves and then don't follow through. We have like a short conversation after where I'm pretty aggressive, and then the next day I come back with a sort of half apology with, okay, sorry for being so aggressive last time, but I do think that this doesn't make any sense for me. And this time, when we start negotiating for a peace, I'm actually expecting them to follow through with it. They're more apologetic in press, and they seem really bothered by the idea of me like going all out, death warring them in North America, because long term that probably means they lose everything.
Yeah. And France and I have
Very
organized
slowly,
our stuff.
but yeah, exactly. So I'm fairly proud of that little bit of negotiating, because I think that was the exact right moment to press them really hard.
Yep, and then back off. Yeah, that's
so,
really good.
Yeah. So here our deal is the same as last year. I take Nueva Vizcaya, and we start funneling troops towards France. They were going to leave Sea of Cortes, and I was vague about my other moves. Because my line is still, I don't know what, I'm not trusting you, I'm not telling you any of my moves other than I'm taking Nueva Vizcaya. Other than that, I'm doing defensive moves until I see that I can trust you.
So, like me to Portugal, I am going to cover my area. I'm not letting you in until I see good news on
exactly.
Yep.
And this is the phase where, for the first time, I'm really strongly considering going through with the deal I made with Spain, because until now I wasn't really trusting them. Here I'm expecting them to follow through, and I'm thinking about pivoting hard against France and Inuit. And if you pan to the Inuit front, I don't remember what moves I was considering there, but
would it have been Hawaii?
I think Spain is taking Hawaii, or at least we're not.
Well, I don't see you taking any Inuit dots with a stab this turn, so
it might have just been getting into position to fight them.
Yeah. Okay.
Because also, I'm the whole time I'm expecting Inuit to start to attack me from their capital at any moment. So I'm sort of thinking, okay, the peace deal with Inuit is doesn't have a very long half-life, so I should start positioning against them now, and then I fight France, and me and Spain can probably hurt France quite a bit while the English troops are still in the area.
Yeah. Were you worried about how that might impact your relationship with me?
Yeah, so my thought process was, if I'm aligning with Spain, I sort of have to discard the relationship I have with you.
Yeah.
Because I can't really help you against Spain if I'm piecing out Spain here. And if I'm fighting France, at best you and I are not fighting and not next to each other, but realistically Spain kills you or Spain kicks you out of North America, and then we fight France together.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the scale, it was actually my relationship with you that made me hesitant to align with Spain, because I did feel like you were my sort of only ally in the game.
Yeah, because you haven't done anything to me. I'm one step removed from you. Yeah, and I've been staunchly with you.
And we've been having some pretty nice press at this point. And I think by this point you've already pointed out that you have a really good relationship with Sweden and Congo. And you mentioned the idea of, oh, by the way, I would really like to win this game with a couple of colonials. And for me, I really like that idea, because I was already looking back on my game and thinking, okay, I've been way too stabby and I have no good relationships anywhere near me. And I like the idea of working with you in the long term and actually building up an alliance.
Yeah.
That was sort of the other side of the scale when thinking about piecing Spain out.
Yeah. And in the me and France chat, this was very obviously a tactic by me. It was like, be as friendly with Ute as possible right now because we know that Ute and France do not get on. And I just kept saying to France, like, peace with them is viable because they like me and I like them. And because they kept saying, oh my god, Ute's press is so terrible. And you kept saying to me, oh my god, France's press is so terrible. I'm like, what's the issue? I press really well with both of you. Like, so yeah,
Yeah, me and France just didn't jive well. I don't know.
yeah, and that's fair enough. Sometimes you just don't mix well with people. And let's have a look at moves now. So you're
So,
piecing out with
I
Spain.
end up sticking with U2 against Spain, which I can justify to Spain pretty easily. I tell them, look, I was honestly not expecting you to follow through. Oh no. I thought you were going to follow. So embarrassed to get betrayed the fourth time in a row, so I just decided to decided this last minute. Yeah, I completely kicked them out of Great Plains. I'm taking Cherokee and Nueva Vizcaya, and also they leave Sea of Cortez. So my position against them here has improved a lot.
Yeah, they dot Inuits in Hawaii.
Yeah. So this phase they really did go all out on piecing me, and this phase I stabbed them, but I don't feel like I suffer a lot of negative consequences from it because, well, they stabbed me 3 times in a row. I did it once. It felt like it's pretty justified, even if I was pretty. It's pretty justified to say I wasn't trusting you, even though I kind of did.
Yeah, and your position is really nice against it.
Yeah.
So it's a good stab regardless of if they believe you meant it or not. So well done.
Oh, and they leave Gulf of Mexico, which I also love to see because a fleet in Gulf of Mexico is so difficult for Ute-Shoshone to deal with.
Yes.
It it can there is nothing you can do about it, and it can do anything to you. That was almost as nice to see as Sea of Cortez.
Yeah. And we become neighbors for the first time this game in Cherokee and Jamestown. Woo, high five.
True. Oh no, wait! I held Cherokee for a phase before. Spain retook it.
Was I in Jamestown at that point? Oh yeah, yeah, I was. Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, okay.
I don't know. Okay, so we see England continuing to be the bane of France's existence, taking Quebec.
Yeah, I'm doing like whatever I can to help Athabasca stay alive in that region, which, from what I understood, was basically like a mini game they were playing at that point where they wanted to stay alive there. So every now and then I would try to get like either Inuit or France to back off of them, or I would ask England to help Athabasca survive. But yeah, England is gaining against France here, and Athabasca lives.
Yep. Athabasca lives. Woo, on 2 dots still at this point.
Yeah, no, 3. They have another one west.
Ah, they're in Den 8? Oh, okay. Cool. Go Athabasca. The most spread out.
Athabasca is holding territory from coast to coast.
The map. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so we see France continuing to fight Spain, getting into position now to kind of come down and help me a little bit, which is good because Erie gets into Maryland, which is a little bit scary, a little bit eerie. Yes, but Spain don't try for Jamestown, which is nice, although I think this probably would have defended against it pretty well anyway.
Had they completely trusted me, they could have guaranteed it.
Yeah, if they...
No, they couldn't have.
No, they couldn't have this phase.
No, they couldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm tapping Catawba.
Yeah, so they didn't completely trust me because otherwise they would have.
Yes, gone for that. And they're supporting themselves in the
I think I might have actually asked you to tap Catawba as well.
Yeah, because obviously
I think this was arranged between us where I'm tapping one, you're tapping the other.
Yeah. And at this point, I wasn't revealing that we were looking at maybe being friendly with Portugal. So I was telling you, like, I might have to support France into Bermuda. So I wasn't committing to it, but then I came back and said, I'll tap Catawba. That's okay. Because you need me to tap it to take Cherokee. Because you don't get in if I don't tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
This was good cooperation between us, and shows you that I am a
Yeah.
reliable regional colonial that you can rely on to still be friends with you.
exactly.
So, and
Also, way too tight OPSEC on your part, because at this point I couldn't have cared less about your relationship with Portugal. I had no idea what was going.
you got to be
My
tight.
understanding of
Yeah.
my understanding of that of your or like intercolonial relationships was looking at the map and seeing, oh, okay, so they're fighting now. Oh, they're not fighting anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
At least for Portugal, who I really had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
For the other colonials, I followed more closely.
Yeah. I mean, because remember, at this point, I don't trust Portugal. So I don't want things to leak, because if anything gets through to them that, Netherlands are trying to screw with them, they might just come and attack me, which I'm kind of worried about anyway.
I don't know, it's completely understandable.
Yep.
Just a bit funny from my perspective.
Yeah. So I get myself into Antilles here, which is really nice, because that gets me some nice positioning here. Spain get into Caribbean Sea, which is a bit sad. And there was a bit of discussion around these moves here, and one can argue that I was too paranoid, because I was really worried that Portugal was going to move into Guiana Current. So I didn't want to just move in with strength of 1 from Cayenne. I wanted to move in with strength of 2. And because really, the other alternative moveset here was that New Cooland would support me to Caribbean Sea and Barbados would support Caracas to Paria. But I said to France, like, I think Barbados needs to support Cayenne to Guiana Current. Which do you care more about, Antilles or Caribbean? And we knew that we were giving up one of them because we had 3 fleets against 3 fleets. So either they would both bounce or we'd get into one and Spain would get into the other. So we kind of had to accept.
Isn't that a bit risky? Because so the other moveset would have been you force yourself into Gulf of Paria, but New Courland potentially gets into Caribbean Sea, which gives Spain a retreat into New Courland.
New Courland would support Mona Passage to Caribbean Sea.
Ah, okay.
So it's not leaving. We knew that we needed to cover New Courland, so we figured out that this was okay. We were never going to hold Caracas, so this was fine to kind of get in a position to start properly looking at retaking Palmerbo, which I really need because that's a build spot for me. So it's priority number 1 for me in the area is get Palmerbo, which is why I'm moving into Carib, all of this kind of stuff.
No, but I think guaranteeing Guiana Current is the best move here, because that's a really nasty spot for anyone to get into. Just having a fleet there makes you a lot safer.
Absolutely it does. And we've seen what's happened earlier this game when I have not covered Guiana Current, and we may see later this game what happens when I don't cover Guiana Current. Okay, I win another 50-50 here, because I knew that Aymara coming to Quench meant that they were coming for me, and that there was going to be some kind of attack here. So it was either Spain would put 2 on Japura, or these 2 would put 2 on Impurina. And Amazonia has a complete 50-50 of which one of these to support. And I made the guess that if Aymara was being involved, they would probably want to live. And so I thought, I'm going to defend Impurina because I think this is going to happen. So, because Aymara ends up still living because of a bounce over Exura by Mapuche and Garang. So Aymara lives on. Well done. And we can see the first evidence here of Portugal actually moving away from me, which is a big, big, big thing for my position, because I thought for sure I was losing all this stuff. And this here was basically like they'd been talking about peace, and I thought, well, if you're stabbing me, you're moving to Sao Sebastio, so I will bounce you out if you do. And if you're not stabbing me, I will vacate Moritzstad and you will keep that dot. So
the deal wasn't for you to keep Moritzstad?
The deal was for me to keep Moritzstad, but you will see on the rest of the map that I do a couple of naughty things. So this was, I mean, in reality, this was me thinking they were stabbing me, and I'm moving to cover them and make sure I can build. But the way I played this off in press was, well, this was a show of faith, me moving out of Moritzstad. And I mean, like, it was like, oh, if you stab me, you get punished, and if you don't stab me, you get a prize, was how I tried to sell it. So I'm like, hey, you got Moritstad. That doesn't mean everything I've done is evil towards you. Because Portugal move away from me, Guarani move into them. This isn't looking like a great turn for Portugal when we look at this. And we'll come up here, and France take Brattahlid, France take Bermuda, which was all arranged, and Portugal's moving to Sargasso Sea to help us out against Spain, because it's all anti-Spain now. This is really, really good to see. Portugal take Godthab. Let's go to Europe. So we're activating. We're getting Nantes out. We're getting our fleets out, because the idea is I'm going to swing my fleets out because I'm friends with Sweden, and we're going to go to Spain. I think Sweden forgot to bounce here because we were meant to be bouncing in Lübeck, and so I accidentally end up in Lübeck, which I'm totally fine with, because I can just hang out in Lübeck.
What is Gulf of Riga convoying there? Oh, that's probably a misorder.
No, it's Narva to Coolant.
But it doesn't go through.
Oh yeah, there must be some kind of misorder.
Maybe convoy like Riga or something.
Yeah, very weird. I don't know what that is. I might find the order and bring it up on the screen, but it's not hugely influential to the position. Sweden is continuing to move against Russia with the using Ottomans against Russia.
Actually, it is relevant because it blocks the build spot for them. If I were you at this, here I would sort of wonder whether it was intentional.
A deliberate
because it gives them an excuse. Yeah, because now I can't build an army there. I'll have to build Fleet Christiania or something.
That's a good point. Although they've been saying they'll be building Trondheim forever anyway to try and properly take control of all these oceans, beat Russia, and then their pitch was they were going to beat Inuits eventually as well, with all their fleets. So we're mobilizing properly. Spain's moving into position against France. We're getting some fleets kind of moving out. So Plymouth comes out to Rockall. Russia do get into Ireland. Sad, but I think that was always going to happen. So we see Adjuran supporting Spain against Ottomans, which we don't love to see. We see Spain taking Hawara, which is really interesting because Abyssinia is dying, but we thought Abyssinia was working with Spain at this point.
It probably was, and Spain just decided to finish them off.
So as part of this supposed peace deal with Portugal that was coming, and here's the example of me being naughty, because I said to them, like, hey, I was playing very, very hard line in the three-way chat, and I was just saying, I'm going to reclaim what was taken from me. And I wasn't very specific about exactly where that was, but one of the parts of this agreement, what I said was, okay, well, I will support you in Tohogar because we want to start making progress against Spain. Bounce me in Niani if you want to keep it, because I'm going to support myself into Ouagadougou, and this ensures that you can't hold both of them. Because if Gen support holds Ouagadougou, then I take Niani. So this was my way of making sure I got a dot back. And Portugal asked me to move Busa away. And when Portugal asked me to move Busa away, it became clear that they did not think that Timbuktu was part of the dots they needed to give back to me. And in press, I had already told them I'm going to take back what was taken from me. And so I decided not to say, well, I'm taking Timbuktu. I decided to just take Timbuktu and say, well, I told you I was coming. And because they said, please move Busa. And I said, oh, it's moving. And in my voice, I said, to Timbuktu. So.
Okay, I feel like if I got that answer from you, I would absolutely be covering Timbuktu.
Yeah, I said, oh, yeah, Bruce is moving, don't worry. And yeah, they did cover Timbuktu here, which I was surprised by because they're leaving Gen open. But it's a great move by them. And right after this is one of the naughty things that I was saying, hey, I walked out of your dot. Don't hate me, because I went for Timbuktu. But I also said, like, you did take Timbuktu from me, and I'm coming back for it. And they went, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. I'm like, that was the first thing you did in this game was dot me in Timbuktu. Like, But honestly, it's pretty good.
I
Portugal's
feel like
moving north.
if I had to guess, I would assume that their thought process was like equally naughty, uh, where their thinking was, oh, okay, they probably think they're retaking Timbuktu, but we never explicitly said that, so I'm just gonna cover it and
Yeah, and I of course could
in
have
case they do.
I could have supported myself into Timbuktu, but it wouldn't have worked because Hogar taps me. But I mean, I could have gone Agadez to Timbuktu, House of States to Agadez, and done it that way. But we lose ground on Spain that way.
That would have been a more explicit like stab, or not stab, but like it would have been worse, yeah.
The unfortunate thing about this take on Ouagadougou here is that it does leave the army with one retreat. So if Portugal decides they hate me, they can retreat to Notse, which is not great for my position. So I really don't want to see that.
And they have to choose between that retreat and disbanding as well.
Yes, it's the only retreat.
A bit annoying.
Yeah, so this is why I'm trying to play this off as though, like, I haven't stabbed you, we are friends, and you need to disband that army. Yeah, so we see Congo moving out again. I'm trying to get Congo to still go for Cabo Verde, because Congo could have taken Cabo Verde so long ago, and they decided to move to Lopez Bay and convoy an army to Sao Tome. So, I mean,
Sao Tome is not even coring. It's tragic to see.
Yeah. Well, no, see, this is the thing, Mr. Lord Tyrant, is that when you core, it is an act of aggression. And if Congo started coring here, I would probably say, well, I need to build a fleet in the Gulf of Guinea. Like, that's the thing that holding does.
It's building infrastructure. Look at Europe. You and Sweden are very friendly, coring next to each other.
Yeah, but that's because we agreed we'd both do it. I am not free to core, and I've already got cores here, so them coring would be aggressive.
Just a little bit of construction. I feel like you're overreacting.
We have an ideological difference here, and yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get away with doing cores like that, then go for it. But I would not let you do that to me.
Oh, absolutely can't. And I would absolutely not be cool with someone coring next to me like that either. Yeah. It's just so weird to see an army in Sao Tome doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. I don't understand. I have to assume Congo was like giving himself an option to stab you and then decided completely against it and thought this was the best way to piece you out.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm not defending against Congo at all here. And a move to Gulf of Guinea, like, they can convoy into Benin. Like, Portugal can retreat to Notse and go, well, I'm working with Congo now, but Congo stick with me. So this is one of the things I'm very happy that I was able to have this relationship with Congo where they were not stabbing me. So, and they continue to move in on Portugal. Portugal get supported into St. Helena, so Congo has reason to dislike these people. The whole time, Congo is trying to get me to fight Portugal as much as possible. Portugal's trying to get me to stab Congo. So I'm in that power position in the middle here, which is really quite nice. We see Portugal not take Mapondo. So Portugal is properly piecing out with France. And one of the things that comes up in the three-way chat is that we want to... I'm going to just scroll back here for a second and not spoil a move. One of the things that we're going to do as the three of us is stab Adjuran. Because Portugal and France want to make moves in the area, and Adjuran is somewhere that they are near and can properly attack. And we have Adjuran and Congo fighting each other, kind of. Although this doesn't look very aggressive, it looks more defensive. So maybe they're piecing out by this point in order to get rid of Abyssinia. Who knows? But yes, let's go back to the clean maps for a second. And if you are the Netherlands, what do you do if everyone's stabbing Adjuran? I mean, I'm giving it away at this point.
I mean, I assume support yourself into Seychelles?
Or just walk in. Yeah.
Or just tap it, yeah.
Or just walk in. So I dot Adjuran in Seychelles, it was in my mind for a while, but now that I've got the permission from France and Portugal that, like, hey, we're all going to work together and we're stabbing Adjuran, I went, okay, I'm definitely dotting Seychelles. Like, there's no way I'm not doing this.
As a regional, having all three colonials next to you decide, okay, this is when we're fighting, the regional is sort of the nightmare.
Yep. And Adjuran's response to this was very good. Adjuran came to me and said, that's all good as long as you use it against Portugal. Because remember, the whole map thinks that me and Portugal are fighting.
Oh,
So
right, and you still kind of look like you're fighting. You're taking each other's dots, and
yeah, and
it's
we're
really only
doing
South America that
naughty
looks a bit weird.
things, and we're doing naughty things. So yeah, I again
Mm.
here, Portugal was not happy to see me move to Laccadive Plateau because I'm trying to put 2 on Cochin and leave myself in position to possibly take Cochin. As you can see here, I don't take Cochin, and Bellari doesn't move there, so I think we managed to figure
Yeah,
that
that's
one out.
weird.
But also, I'm now next to Maldives, which is really good in terms of having position against Portugal. So this was naughty, but I also said, like, hey, if I was stabbing you, I walk into Cochin. And if I'm stabbing you, I don't walk out of Moritstadt. So this was my sell to them that I was actually going to be friends with them. And I'll
Yeah,
tell you
okay.
right.
Given everything else, I feel like as Portugal, I would consider your moves to be pretty friendly. Yeah, the African moves are a little bit aggressive, but like within reason if you don't completely trust them.
Yeah, like I've done enough to be like, hey, I kind of am going to work with you. And enough for them to
Yeah.
believe me. And I'll spoil it now. In press before the next phase, I look at this and I go, oh, Portugal actually did move away from me, and people are dicking me all over the map. And people dicking me all over the map includes at Ayutthaya supporting Spain into Java when they were meant to leave me Java. And I responded to this like,
Mm.
okay, you've just like taken a massive dump and like laid it on my chest. So I'm not happy because I've pivoted away, and the whole idea was I'd give them these 2 dots and they'd leave me Java, and I'd pivot against Portugal, and they then immediately support Spain into Java. So I kind of go, well,
Yeah.
okay, I kind of want to be friendly with Portugal because this Ayutthaya guy cannot be trusted in the least.
The thing is, from Ayutthaya's perspective, you made a deal with Ayutthaya, which makes you irrelevant to them. Basically, you're pivoting into India, you're leaving Indonesia, and so now they have Spain with whom they have to maintain a relationship, and you who are sort of losing in the area. So I feel like the support into Jaw is kind of obvious.
Yeah,
Like
it's
if Spain is asking for it, Ayutthaya has a really hard time saying no.
yeah, that is true. My idea was basically I was going, well, I'm in this area now, and I'm going to leave you alone as long as you aren't rude to me. And Ayutthaya were rude to me, and they know that I'm in the Indian Ocean. And not only am I in the Indian Ocean, but France is in the Indian Ocean, and France is my best friend. So you can make the
Yeah, that's true.
argument that they should have been nicer because they don't want Indian Ocean pivoting back against them if somehow Netherlands and Portugal peace out. But you can also say that they need to keep setting Spain up and being friends with Spain and all that. So I totally see why they did this. We see Portugal get into Makassar. I decide not to bounce Spain in Cebu because I'm going, well, you're not going to get to build in Cebu. I'm hoping that me and Portugal can cause some chaos. I don't bounce Halmahera either. I just decide to core, and whatever happens, happens.
And that's a very aggressive looking core, I must say.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm coring right next to their dots. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yep. I mean, I was never getting into Cebu here, so there's no point for me to do anything different.
Yeah.
We see Ming and Spain.
And you also want to disband that unit anyways.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I want it to be dislodged. You're correct. I don't want to have it around because if I'm able to build somehow, then that would be great. Yeah, I think that's probably about all that matters. We see some stuff here where Inuits and Spain are still kind of over here, but Spain have just stabbed Inuits, I think.
I have no idea when Inuit and Qing are fighting and when they're peacing out. Throughout the game, every time I looked at them, I had no idea how good the relationship was. And whenever I thought whenever I wanted to attack Inuit, I was afraid to talk to Qing about it because I worried about leaking. Uh, uh, Basically, the entire game, I feel like me and Qing were attacking Inuit without coordination. Where like I would attack them and then piece them out, and then when I piece them out, Qing would attack them and then piece them out, and so on. And I feel like neither of us trusted each other to coordinate those attacks. I think this is a point where I'm piecing out Inuit and the two of them are fighting.
Classic. It's always fun when that happens. And I think we see Ming stab Qing as well. And Tokugawa's moving in.
No, aren't they piecing out? Oh no, that's sorry, I didn't see it. That's a dot.
Yeah. So I think it's not looking good for Qing right now, even though they get this dot back. But yeah, Qing is starting to crumble at this point.
Yeah.
That's
So is
good.
Ming.
So we can have a look at some builds here, or no retreats. Oh, sorry. Yes, the retreat that does matter is that Portugal agrees to blow up Ouagadougou, which I'm very, very happy to see. They don't retreat to not
Nice to
say,
see.
because I convinced them enough in the three-way chat that I'm actually in this, and I'm like, I actually will work with you in France now, and it's going to be the three of us till the day we die. Because, you know, France needs friends, and France does not trust you, so... yes, we see a retreat to Broca Pondo, which kind of sucks, but it couldn't go anywhere else, so it's fine. It's going to make
And
it
also,
a
it's a fleet, so it's
bit
not
harder
as
to
big a
take
deal.
back Pamerbo, but yeah, it goes there, and it could have disbanded. I think I asked Spain to disband. Yeah, I'm trying to get Spain to disband in Broca Pondo, but they in Pariah, but they retreat to Broca Pondo, which is kind of sad. Let's go back to the scoreboard properly and have a look at what's happening. So Portugal have managed to go negative by doing this, and they are now exactly tied with Spain, who managed to still go +4.
But I remember looking at the map here and thinking that Portugal is playing a pretty good game because last year they went +8, became board top, and then now they've managed to piece almost everyone out while remaining top of the board and keeping a pretty good position in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go slightly negative, but I think they should have gone slightly negative. Like it was a good call on them.
Yep. +5 Sweden is crazy. So Sweden is becoming a real big threat at this point, and I'm worried where they're putting all these builds because they could come straight for me.
Yeah.
Guarani are also +3.
Especially with the misorder.
Yes, correct. They can't build in Nava or whatever it is. Yeah. So you're right. I should be worried about this. Safavids are also +5. Guarani are +3. And here's where we really start remarking about the regionals coming up, because 4 of you have overtaken me in France because both of us went +0 in a stabilization year after being stabbed.
Is this unusual? Like, is it early to see regionals do that well? I don't know how to.
Every game is different. Like, different things happen all the time. But up until this point, the top 4 had been the top 4 regionals, colonials for ages, and this was the first year that we saw that kind of change. It's really like me and France got screwed by these Portugal stabs, but yes, we're starting to get overtaken by regionals and start getting pretty worried because I mean, if Sweden stab me, if you stab us, Ayutthaya keeps working with Spain against us, it's not going to be good. If Guarani stabs me in South America, so it's all pretty worrying because all of these people, except for Safavids, are people I have stuff directly to do with. Ayutthaya is there and thereabout. Congo's there and thereabout. They're both next to me. Like, it's a bit of a worry. So, but it was a year of stabilization where I managed to avoid doing any disbands because I blew up the fleet in Zamboanga. So I didn't have to disband anything. I did go -1 this year, but it was a stabilization year, and I was happy to see Portugal move away from me. My position is much worse if Portugal do not move away from me.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the builds then. 1 and 1 again for you.
Yeah. Right. Last year, Inuit was promising me to convoy that army away to Greenland, and then I think in last moves they didn't even try. So I put down the Shoshone build. I tell them in advances, like, okay, I have to do this because it looks like you're planning to move that army towards me, and I have to have some troops to cover against that.
Yep.
And also it helps with piecing out Spain because that's the least aggressive build I could do against Spain, basically.
Yes. We see Inuits have to disband as well. They get rid of a fleet over here. They don't get rid of the army, they get rid of a fleet. So
yeah, which they also lied about, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So at this point, at this point, I know that Inuit is coming for me, and at this point, I think we both know we're going to war soon. We're still like talking peace in press. Another neat thing: are they in Arctic Ocean?
Yes.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Okay. They got in last phase. So Portugal bouncing them out of that was actually really big for me, because otherwise they would already have an army in Paulatuk, and I would be losing a lot in this fight. Like
Yeah.
that one phase of tempo was really really big for me.
Although, like, they probably bounced Portugal out of Godfab instead of moved to Paulatuk. They're probably not moving
Oh
to
wait, right.
Paulatuk.
That's
Yeah, because they
probably
would bounce Portugal out. Unless they
yeah. You're
maneuvered
right.
with Portugal against you or something. So we see England have to disband one, but they still keep on their other two because they're still at 2 dots, so they continue to be an eternal thorn in France's side. Spain pops out another build in Mexico City, which I am not happy to see. They didn't build in Panama or Bogota here, and we were very confused why, because they had 4 builds, and surely you build an army in Bogota here. Like, don't you, to hold all this area? It feels like a big misplay
Probably
not
yeah.
to build in Bogota.
But I don't know what their other builds were. Mexico City also feels pretty necessary, so.
I would have thought Panama would be better than Mexico City because Bay of Panama can be immediately filled.
I just stabbed them last move.
Oh, true, and they want to
Mexico City.
Yeah.
Mexico City, the defense, like Mexico City, at least postures against me, while being easily deployed against you.
Yes, that's a good point. It does feel pretty weird that they're not building anything in Panama, Bogota, St. Augustine. But
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
yeah, I'm happy to see that. My fleet factory's up and running again. We see Mapuche disband the fleet next to Spain. RIP, we will never forget you. We see Mapuche disband the army at home in order to keep alive a fleet that... Let's see where this fleet is right now. Where's Mapuche's fleet? It's in the South Pacific Ocean, so they keep on South Pacific Ocean with Wuruk open, Danny open, Gulmorgan open. So Mapuche is going to try and survive over in Oceania.
And this is here begins the part of Gorani's problem, where for several phases in a row they have builds and not nowhere to put them because they're stalemating against Portugal and have to cover their cores.
Yep, all their cores are covered, so they're
because
they went +3.
Exactly.
And they can only build 2.
But only 2 builds, and they really need builds.
Yes, and yes, that is a big problem for them. We see Sweden go +5 and decide only to build 4. I'm very happy.
Yeah, so I'm assuming the convoy was a genuine mistake because
it must have been.
It's sort of the perfect opportunity to.
Yeah, like if you're stabbing,
this is the perfect opportunity to like build fleet Gothenburg or something.
I can't build in Bremen. Yeah, they get to build in Gdansk, which is, they're very happy that they've completed that core because they're able to properly deploy into Europe now. I'm happy that it's probably going towards Austria and Ottomans and stuff, or France and everything. They've still got to fight Russia up here, so stabbing me is pretty dangerous here when they still have to finish off Russia in the area. France get another fleet out, which is very, very necessary in this area, so we're good. Happy to see that.
I actually remember looking at this fleet and thinking, surely that fleet is just going to be popped, right?
I mean,
like, that should have been an army.
It could. Yeah, maybe, because Ligurian Sea can just come in. But maybe Spain want to be prioritizing working with Austria against Florence or something.
I think like if they build an army, they can move it to Aquitaine and then pressure Marseille next round. But here Spain just guarantees popping Marseille, and then they can hold it.
Yep. I pop out a fleet because Congo has fleets in the area and is building another fleet. I asked them to make sure they built it in Soyo, not in Mbanza. So I'm happy to see that. I get a fleet out, and at this point when I'm piecing with Portugal, I do start entertaining the idea of stabbing Congo. And so this fleet build is kind of like defend the area, but it's also like start moving against Congo.
Yeah, I mean, at your position in Africa, you're fighting Congo or you're fighting Portugal or you're trying to survive, and
Yeah,
you're not trying to survive anymore. Like you're doing good.
exactly.
So
And sitting on the fence in terms of two people that are warring each other can work, but sometimes it's easier to pick one or the other. And there's a whole lot of these areas across the map where I have to pick one or the other, and they haven't kind of appeared yet, but you can probably figure out which pairings I'm talking about in three main areas. But yes, so I'm looking at least having some more in the area to combat Congo if I decide to do that. Ayutthaya continue to pump out fleets. I mean, you build in Udong and move on Spain, you coward. Who knows?
now they're finishing off Portugal, which makes more sense, I think.
True, and they're finally getting armies out. Tokugawa's going to die. I reckon we can go straight to moves, and we'll go to the Ute position.
Right, so war with Inuit breaks out. They're convoying into Paulatuk. Neither of us are really shocked by it.
Yep.
But I'm in a position where at least they can't take anything this year.
Yep.
Or, oh no, they could. Wait. Why did I think they can't?
What do you think they can take from me? What, Tuchane?
It's like a 50-50 on Ute-Shoshone.
Yeah.
Where if they don't go for it, then I lose it to Athabasca.
Yeah.
Oh no, but I can't. No, I can't. Yeah, this is actually a worse position for me than I thought. Yeah, I don't remember it being this right. So yeah, basically, me and Inuit go to war that we were both expecting. I think their response in press was, "Well, yeah, I had to move against you because you thought I was moving against you, so you were going to move against me."
Yeah.
Which is like. I think it's both an excuse, but also kind of true at some point.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Once that army, yeah. Other than that, oh right. So with Spain here, I'm talking peace again, where I say, okay, look, I mistrusted you last time, but we were talking about like swapping Cherokee for something anyways. I can just give you something in exchange for Cherokee, and we can move to France. And they seem to trust me. But at this point in the phase, I'm not really considering it at all. I'm moving away from France completely in Menominee, and I'm coordinating with you to pop 2 Spanish armies.
Yeah, let's analyze this move because this is very nice.
Yeah, and this is pretty big. And if I remember correctly, it does rely on Spain trusting me a little bit. I don't know if they could have prevented it. Maybe not. But either way, this one is just like an unjustified stab. After this, I say, yeah, I'm sorry. Like the position in this position, it just made no sense for me to work with you anymore because if I'm attacking France, then I'm stuck with you behind my back, and this just made more sense.
Yeah.
But as stabs go, this one is really nice for me because it gets rid of like two Spanish armies.
Yeah.
And I think they go from like 6 to 4 in the area.
Yeah. And I remember because you first proposed this moveset to me, and you suggested France support Jamestown to Maryland and France support Cherokee to Tutelo. And I looked at this and I saw a whole lot of arrows going east, and I thought, oh, you're just trying to move us away from you so that you can take our dots, and Spain's going to move on France, and you're piecing out with Spain in doing this. And you said, no, I promise I'm not. This is trying to blow up the armies. And I said, but Tutelo would retreat to Jamestown. Why would I ever do this? And you went, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that was just an honest mistake on my part. I just didn't see the retreat at all. I don't think at any point during these negotiations I was strongly considering stabbing you in France.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
But boy, we were suspicious when we saw
misplay.
That. Yeah. And I remember because you were like, why don't you believe me? I'm your friend. And I'm like, have you seen the moveset? Like, so I was far more happy when you came back and proposed Philadelphia to Maryland. Yeah, so it should be said you were the architect of this move.
The second version as well.
Yes, you were. And you came back with this and I said, okay, this is much better because I'm not moving away from my dot. Like, I have dreams of moving to Catalba, and if Jamestown moves to Maryland, I'm going in the exact wrong direction to do that. So I'm much happier
Yeah.
seeing us actually move this way. And it works because we pop up Tutelo and we pop up Maryland. So both of them are gone, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think the reason I didn't go for this originally was because I was worried about. I thought, oh, Spain might be tapping Jamestown, make this
Yes.
not work. Uh, but this was by far the best move that I just like whiffed.
Yeah, and I think this is where they're trusting you because Catalba doesn't tap Jamestown because they're trying to support you into Cherokee.
Oh yeah. Because the idea was they're supporting me into. Oh yeah, this did rely on them trusting me because they're supporting me into Erie and helping me backfill into Cherokee in case France is tapping.
Yeah.
Cherokee was the idea, which means they cannot tap Jamestown.
Yeah, and it's pretty risky for them to be tapping Jamestown anyway. Because what if I just support Jamestown to Catalba? Because they're not tapping me in Gulfstream, which we thought might happen with Florida
Yeah,
Current.
but they could have tapped from Tutelo.
No, but if Jamestown moves to I mean they'd take Jamestown, sure, but yeah, it does mean that I have counterplay, so I guess it makes sense that they want to support hold Catalba. But yeah, we completely played Spain here. This was really nice.
And this whole the last 5 or so phases of my negotiation with Spain went almost as perfectly as it could have, and I feel like this is the part of the game that I played the best, where while we were fighting, I managed to get us deals that I was expecting them to break, and then the one time, and that let me get a deal that I was expecting them to follow twice, and I got 2 pretty good stabs off of that. And in 2 years, I managed to get 6 armies to turn into 4. Right.
Is there anything else in your position here to talk about?
No, not much. I'm mobilizing against Inuit. I'm stabbing Spain. That's about it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm being friendly to France, and basically from the moment Spain stabbed France, I was both impressed and also pretty genuinely trying to peace out France. I was considering stabbing them for that last phase. Other than that, I am trying to I have noticed that I haven't been a really good ally, and I'm trying to fix that. Like you see me moving out of Menominee, which I don't think was arranged with France. Menominee. And in general, I'm trying to work with U2 as well as I can.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you moving out of Menominee and into Ojibwe is totally about France and not about the fact that you're going +1. Or that you are supporting Athabasca forwards into Greece, so yeah.
Athabasca can build anyways, so long as there is no point in them getting the fourth dot.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They're keeping. They have to keep the dot on the other side.
Yeah.
So this was okay. I'm helping them move into the area that they already said they want to try to live in anyways.
They're your vassal.
And there is no reason not to backfill this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so firstly, I'm very happy that I got into Bahamas Channel here because I thought, okay, Spain's going to try and do some stuff. I thought I can sneak in here because Spain has to be worried that Portugal and I are attacking Bahamas. So they make sure to tap both of the units and do it in a way that Bahamas wouldn't walk out into Antilles Current accidentally and let Portugal in. So I thought, we're not going to get Bahamas right now, so I'm going to walk to Bahamas Channel and put some real pressure on them. And I was very happy I got in. I'm also very happy that because they are doing this kind of moveset, that we get into Caribbean Sea. I'm very happy about this, and it can't retreat to Windward because Windward remained, so Caribbean Sea has to kind of move away. So a lot of this is mobilization. We're a bit sad that we don't get France into New Caracas, but a tap on Paria was always pretty obvious. So, yeah, this.
Why didn't you flip that around?
Because we were worried about Cayenne, and I want to retake Pamerbo. So I want to be next to Pamerbo because I walk into Pamerbo here. So this here was about stopping Spain supporting themselves into Pamerbo. So we thought we'll make sure I get into Pamerbo, and then I'll cover Cayenne in the fall, because if Kalina moves to Cayenne, then Guyana doesn't have to cover Cayenne. So I should be able to do something to this fleet and maybe blow it up. Spain's kind of coming around and maneuvering over here. I managed to start getting... Well, Guarani's trying to get into decent position against Portugal here. At this point, remember, I've just pieced Portugal, but I just supported Guarani into Portugal. So both of them want me to work with them against the other. And I keep saying I have to worry about Spain first. So here's when you say, in all these areas where there's pairs, you have to kind of pick one. I didn't. And I just kind of said to both of them, yeah, I'll help you in a bit, but Spain. So I sat on this fence here, and we will see if I continue sitting on this fence here. But I get into Goiás, which is really nice because I can properly defend Ipurina here. And I cleared this with Portugal. We see Bahia move away, which is really nice. All this stuff. Maybe I'll take Moritstad, who knows. But yeah. We see Quechua move away, which is great. So Spain get into Caribe again, which is annoying because I've just moved out of Belém. And Caribe was the most annoying province throughout this entire spat with Spain, because they kept getting into Caribe.
Yeah, that little arm it has that touches Belém is pretty inconvenient.
That touches Belém, Kalina, Pamerbo, Amazonia, Japura. It's a really annoying province for them to be in, and every time they're in it, I have to fill everywhere and try and push them out. So it's very annoying.
Wait, why didn't you actually tap it from Amazonia? Oh, they could have been attacking.
I thought that Quechua coming up again. I wanted to make sure I was secure in this area, and of course Portugal may still be maneuvering against me. I'd ask them to support Ipurina just in case, but this is kind of a sign that they're actually going to support me here. I get in, so I'm actually a bit more free because I can support Ipurina from Goiás now. But they've got 3 on Japura, which is a worry. So it's not all that great. Portugal at some point had taken Chiloé from Mapuche as part of this Mapuche killing. And they move into Nazca Ridge, which is because they're at war with Guarani. So I'm happy to see this kind of stuff where the two of them are fighting each other and not worrying about me. A few fleets come out into the South Atlantic, which always makes me a bit nervous because I have a lot that's next to it. We see Portugal bounce. We do need to talk about this. I've brought it up. I stab Congo, and I move everything across, and I really, really, really want Congo to move to Serra Leoa Rise this turn, because that means I get Sao Tome guaranteed, because I get into Gold Coast, I get into the Gulf of Guinea, and I can take it. Portugal obviously sees the threat that Congo can move there and take Cabo Verde for free, because none of their fleets can properly get out to cover. So they moved to Serra Leoa Rise, and I knew this was coming, and I couldn't tell Portugal not to because they would be really worried. So I stab Congo, and it's not a great stab, but they do continue to move away, so it's okay. And they get
it's a 1-dot stab now, but probably more coming later,
because I can take Bayer guaranteed, and I get into Kanem-Bornu.
Yeah, so because at this point they're fighting every single one of their neighbors.
Yes. So that is true, because they've been fighting Adjuran, but also they try and piece it. They keep moving on Adjuran because I was selling to Congo, we've just stabbed Adjuran, which means I'm siding with you against Adjuran. And Congo kept going, and yeah.
And I think this is a really important misorder, the one down, where they try support holding a core.
Oh, yes. Correct. You cannot support hold a core in Imperial Diplomacy. And
this actually kind of collapses their position here, because they lose a dot and Portugal moves into both Bemba and Barotse.
Yes, it's really rough for them to try and defend this. So at the same time, Portugal makes strides against them, getting into Cape Base and getting into Barotse, getting into Bemba, and I stab them. So Congo is not happy at all to see this, and I'm not happy at all to see the bounce happen, because they're next to Core Mountain, and I also don't have 2 on Sao Tome. So I wanted this to be a 2-dot stab, and it didn't come off. So I'm a little unhappy.
Were you considering supporting Gold Coast into Sierra Leone? Or would that have been too aggressive against Portugal?
I think it would have been too aggressive against Portugal because Cabo Verde falls for sure. So I can't get away with that.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at this again, what I should have done was move Adja to Notse or Great Ardra and convoy to Loango. And I should have just gone, this bounce is happening, I'm going to give up on taking Sao Tome properly. I should have tried to convoy this army to Loango. But Oyo is not too bad because it can move either to House of States or Nuri. So it's flexible. It's all right. I don't remain convinced that this was a brilliant stab. I think it was a pretty average one, but it shows Portugal I'm willing to work with them, because if I move into Jenne and Timbuktu here, yeah, I get more dots, but I also turn Portugal against me across the map. So
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very good stab, but I think it was strategically good because you're fence sitting against in two different places against Portugal, and at some point Portugal would probably decide, okay, I just need to fight Netherlands. I can't have them like a sort of Damocles above my head.
And it's very difficult for me to properly move this way when there's an army in Hogar that it gets dislodged. It's probably always getting dislodged. It can retreat to Agadez and do all sorts of shit. I mean, maybe I can go Busa to Jenne, Agadez to Timbuktu. I don't think I knew that they were moving out of Jenne, though, so it's pretty difficult. I mean, maybe I can support in, but I also like the idea of getting off a core in Ouagadougou because Portugal has this core in Niani, and I want to match it. Not only the core in Niani, but the core in Uluwatu. So I want a core over here to be able to build properly in Africa, because Great Ardra and Fernando Po are not the best build spots. I think this was an okay decision. Maybe Portugal stab would have worked here. I think it requires a bit more analysis than I really want to do right now. So,
yeah, fair.
Maybe it could have worked, but this is all right because I'm showing Portugal I'm going to properly work with them. I've bought into the three-way. The three of us are going to take down Congo and Adjuran. All of this kind of stuff.
One more problem with stabbing Portugal here is that if you stab them, you probably have to stab them everywhere. And if you're stabbing them in South America, I think long term that is very bad for you.
Yeah, when I've got Spain.
Not just that, but I think specifically as Netherlands, your main long-term problem in South America is the moment Portugal dies to whichever regional wins the South, you're next, because they have a million armies and which have nowhere to go but into you. Yes. So attacking Portugal here makes them collapse faster, but they're a really good buffer against that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Spain and Portugal are fighting. I move out into Iberian Current. We're looking at trying to properly work in this area. Merida moves in here next to both Porto and Lisbon, which is pretty bad for Portugal because they don't get Azores out to Sea of Azores. So I think France wanted me to help them into Ireland, but I said it was more important for us to look against Spain here, so I don't move to Rock or Rise. I'm moving my fleets this way just in case, because Sweden has just built a shit ton, so I say to them, like, hey, I just want to make sure I'm in the area in case you come. But I also move out of Lubeck because I wasn't ever meant to get in, so I'm showing them, like, no, I'm covering my core, I'm not going to build against you, we're all fine. Spain and France are fighting. Marseille does get blown up, as you say. So yeah, maybe an army would have been better. Poor France. Safavids stab the Ottomans. Or dot them at least. I don't know if it's a stab. But
no, it's stabbed. They're taking 2.
Yeah. Yes, they are. They're taking Kharkov as well. So yeah, Travis is really going for it at this point. And they move in towards Mughals as well. So there's some kind of fighting going on here. So this is part of the Adjuran takedown, is we get into Swahili Coast. I support France into Somali Basin. Adjuran, of course, could retreat to Maldives here, so Portugal covers it, which I'm happy with because it gets them away from Ceylon. And the other part of this is that I'm re-pivoting back into the Indian Ocean here. And I move Cholamandalam down to Eno 3. We see Ayutthaya move to Cocos Basin and, yeah, Bay of Bengal to Andhra Coast and stuff. So I'm not all that happy about Ayutthaya here because they've dicked me in Java. They've moved into Bay of Bengal. Yes, it's anti-port first and foremost, but they clearly don't trust me when they're moving to Cocos Basin.
I mean, it's anti-port, but you're kind of in the way.
Yeah, and maybe here's where I could have been less truthful in chat, because I kind of like had a bit of a go at them after they supported Spain into Java, and I probably should have just let it be and not tipped off that I was angry at them. I should have just been angry at them in secret and let my fire burn in the dark. In my void. And so I'm kind of maneuvering again here to be in position. I think Ayutthaya thought me and Portugal were fighting. We were not. So, yeah, it's all looking pretty good. Portugal continue to dot Spain, and Spain take Danny. Mapuche holds, I guess. Is that true? Yeah, Mapuche hold. Sure. Spain maneuver back into the SPO and fully maneuver. They start doing a lot of moves that are very, very away from Ayutthaya. And I don't think Spain are throwing here. I think that Spain are just doing bad moves because they are so exposed.
Yeah, it's way too trusting of Ayutthaya.
And not just Ayutthaya, but Portugal. Like, they don't... Nothing can cover Manila here.
Oh, they don't cover Manila. Oh,
no.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these are just misplays.
These are not good moves. And, I mean, I would like to think that Spain was not throwing to Ayutthaya this early.
No, they for sure didn't. I don't think this was a throw to Ayutthaya.
Yeah, but, I mean, they're losing Monado. They're letting Ayutthaya into celibacy. Yeah, it's... Evolution is taking advantage of this situation expertly, I think is how I will put this. And I will not comment any further. Yeah, so we get some good moves here. Mughals are starting to crumble, all that stuff. I think that's probably good for look at it moves.
Oh, also, this is the same phase that they were trying to work with me in North America. I don't think it makes any sense for them to be throwing here.
Yeah.
After this, now that America has completely collapsed, maybe they might look at like, okay, I'm done with this game.
Yeah.
But while there's a chance of stabilizing that position, it really makes no sense for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it probably is just bad moves by Spain. And because we've seen a couple of suboptimal moves by them earlier this game as well. We've seen them blow up in Broca Pondo, which means they have no fleet in the area, which was absolutely crushing. So they misplayed in that regard.
The vibe I got a lot was that they mentioned to me that they were working a lot and they didn't have that much time for the game. So I know that like they were usually only available for press a couple hours before the deadline, and I'm guessing that like they just didn't have time to. For me, I would usually like put in some moves at the beginning of a phase and then mull them over for the next 2 days. If you're only doing your moves for the first time a couple hours before deadline, you're gonna make mistakes, especially as a colonial who has to cover like 50 units.
Yeah. Yeah, playing a colonial is stressful, and when you have to input orders for how many do they have at this point? When they have 45 units on the board, it can be a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that shouldn't be underestimated, is how kind of much time it takes to work through it properly. Like, when you're sitting down at the board trying to figure out your orders, it takes real life time. Let's maybe go to next moves. What matters? Yeah, so Caribbean come back to Cartagena. We see 2 blown up armies. Woo, woo. Well done, us.
Very nice to see.
Yeah. Hogarth does not retreat to Agadez. Thank you, Portugal. But, I mean, why would they? Like, I can just support back in, and it means I'm not attacking Congo, who they are making progress against. Okay. How are you looking?
Pretty good. Yeah, I do lose one dot to Inuit.
To China.
Which I knew was coming. I don't actually lose a dot because I'm taking Yupik. I don't know why they're not covering it with Arctic. Oh, because it doesn't touch.
Yeah.
That's why I remember not losing anything. So yeah, I lose to Chone, but I retake Yupik, so we're neutral on dots here.
Yep.
They lose Cree. The war with Inuit is like we demilitarized fairly well, so it's slow going at first. And in the meantime, I'm sort of I keep attacking Spain here. Oh, right. Wait, did I? Sorry, if you scroll down, did I misorder? Or is that just?
Which
Oh,
one?
is that the? No, I'm just confused about like the Berlanga Ridge support not lining up.
Yeah, so
but I guess
Spain,
because
Spain also
that's just visual.
Yep. So that's just a 2 versus 2.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
the visual is
arrow,
weird because I think
it
it
is
supports it into the coast instead of the center.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of nice by Spain here to protect themselves. That's a good move. So that's why when I say Spain did some suboptimal moves, they also did some good moves. So
yeah. I think this move set guarantees I get either Saltillo or Mexico City.
Yeah, which is really nice.
They end up defending Mexico City.
And you cover Apache.
There is one annoying move here. One thing to point out here is that I'm completely emptying out GPL.
Yes.
Which was part of my ongoing attempt to show to France that I can be worked with. Please ignore everything up until this point.
Yeah, and France is working with you.
Yeah, and France does 2 really annoying moves. The move to Anishinabek and the backfill into Tutelo. These moves cannot do anything other than attack me. Or like there is no reason to do them other than to attack me. Yeah. Anishinabek could have been just as useful in Algonquin if they were going for Cree. And Tutelo has no business being there. So, and this is where I start sort of pressuring them a little bit about, hey, look, I completely emptied out GPL, and these 2 moves feel really aggressive to me. And they are excuseful. I don't think they give me any excuse that I remember. For Anishinabek, it was literally, oh, I didn't notice it was threatening to you, which felt
like
yeah. Sure. Also, I'm not blaming them too much because I know they distrust me and I've given them some reason for it. I'm being sort of firm about it, impressed, but I'm trying to talk them out of talk them into okay, please leave Anishinabek. I would like to work with you. And I think it's here that I propose basically a continent split with them, where they take Inuit and Spanish dots north and south. I take the west of the continent. And I would actually really like for that to work. Because I'm already fighting Inuit in Spain, and both of those seem kind of like Death War-ish. Spain definitely, Inuit maybe. But I really don't like the prospect of fighting France here, because they have a lot of units, and the Great Lakes make for a lot of stalemate lines around them, or like stalemate-ish lines. And whenever I consider attacks against France, both now and before when I was thinking about cooperating with Spain, it just feels so slow. So my plan here is I would really like to establish some sort of alliance with France where we bounce over a couple of the points on our border, and then I would pivot hard into building fleets and expanding over NPO, because Spain is collapsing over there. Basically, everyone is collapsing over there. Spain, Tokugawa, Qing, Ming. I don't think I'm winning by taking over French dots in North America, and there is a lot of stuff to take over here. I've been steadily building up more and more of a fleet presence, and those fleets haven't been doing much the entire game.
No.
That's my thought. That's my goal going forward from here.
Yeah.
And also it helps that I've got a pretty good relationship with you. I know that you and France are tight, so I'm hoping that would also help smooth things over with them.
We have a nice little Tutelo to Cherokee is great because it stops Spain getting in. So this was a great defensive move here, having France support you. And I get into Catalba, which is lovely.
Oh yeah.
Because they could have just support
And
held
again, we
Catalba.
do and you again do the safe move. I think this was all like we were talking about this the entire time. But you end up going for the safe move where you take with the fleet again. So again, you're in a position where like a fleet is in an annoying position that it can't get out of.
It's the
but
reverse
you do,
of Maryland
get the
Jamestown.
dot.
Yeah. Because of course Florida Current can
No, it's
just
the
tap
exact of
Gulfstream.
Maryland Jamestown.
Yeah.
Because originally you had to take Jamestown with a fleet as well.
Yes, it's the same thing. Yeah. So I think this is the correct move set, even though Florida Current ends up not tapping Gulfstream.
Yeah, there isn't really much reason to risk it here.
No. Speaking of risking things, Spain does not cover Havana or Baracoa.
And right.
I thought for sure. So Gulf of Mexico is used in defending against you, which makes a lot of sense. So maybe I could have gone for Havana. But I thought that Spain would be covering both. So I thought, well, let's support France forwards and we can really put pressure on taking Jamaica, Baracoa, Havana, Bahamas, and properly put an end to this. But I support France into Windward Passage and don't take Havana or Baracoa, and Spain leaves them open. So well done, Spain, once again. It's a good defensive move.
But also, Windward Passage to Bahamas Channel feels very weird. I don't see the point of that.
I think it's to stop me supporting Portugal into Bahamas.
Right. Okay, true.
Yeah, it's the same as last turn where they tapped both of the fleets to make sure Bahamas was safe. So it's not a bad defensive move set by them, because I think they're thinking, oh, well...
No, but they're not tapping both fleets because the Sargasso tap doesn't...
Yes, it does. If Sargasso is supporting Bahamas Channel...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. I get into Antilles. I get into Bay of Panama, which is really nice for my position because I'm next to Jamaica. I'm next to Panama. And yes, I should talk about this now. Spain and I were having the earliest conversations about peace here. And I basically said to them, like, hey, I'm willing to look at piecing you, but I need Palermo back, and I want you to get rid of Broker Pondo, because that fleet is really annoying to my position. I need you to move out of Carib. I need you to blow up Broker Pondo. And they asked me to force disband Broker Pondo, which is very risky for me to do and requires me trusting them. So I decided not to force disband it. And then afterwards, immediately I was saying, hey, please disband Broker Pondo, because Spain have disbands this year. So, and they said, well, you clearly didn't trust me because you moved into Bay of Panama and didn't force disband me. You covered your dots. And I said, yeah, can you blame me for covering my dots? So, this is an example of me talking to Spain about peace, and it gets this convoy to happen. They basically said to me that this was a sign that they're trying to demilitarize South America, and they did it by convoying.
Oh, that's what it was for.
Bogota to Galapagos, which I guess they're thinking, well, now they don't have to worry about Galapagos anymore. But it does nothing. Like, it doesn't feel great. So
I was assuming that it was a setup for convoying into Japan.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they were thinking. Yeah. So that could happen. Yes, so I managed to get them to walk out of Carib. I don't cover Belém, which was another risk, because, again, I'm really thinking there's going to be attacks here. Because, I mean, Guarani and Portugal both moved up. There's a chance Guarani and Spain work against me. And this was another magic trick that got pulled off. I don't think this had all that much to do with me, but I was definitely trying to get Guarani and Spain to start fighting. And we see Spain, as part of this peace talk with me, move down to Huamanga. They're getting in position against Guarani. And I don't know how I got that to happen, or if it was just they didn't trust each other.
Yeah, I don't think this was in Spain's best interest at all. They were probably just looking for allies anywhere. But attacking Guarani here, I don't think it makes any sense, because they're really stretched out, and you have 4 units that can just sort of slam into their cores.
And this is what I'm talking about with fake peace, because I don't have much intentions at this point of actually piecing out Spain. I just want them to get out of my hair. And so if I can say I'm support holding Pamerbo and you're breaking up Brokopondo, then next year I can move on them again. So I'm happy to see these moves because it means it's less likely that Guarani and Spain work together against me, which is the biggest worry on the continent for me because it turns it into a 2v2.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of
it's the
armies
first time. It's the first time they're fighting all game, I think.
Yes, that's correct. And I think I was saying to Spain, like, hey, I'll help you against Guarani because I'm working with Portugal now. And Spain were kind of taking the bait a little bit. So I was very happy to see these moves by Spain. I was very happy to see this move by Spain. This is now Guarani entering Tortosa Santos Bay. This is not Mapuche this time. Guarani and Portugal are continuing to fight. And Portugal make a stride, but Guarani bite back in Chiloe. Mapuche lose Ranculche, so they are now down to... They lose their only dot, and we will see in a little bit if they get one back. Congo support Portugal to SAO 1, which I knew was coming from Slay, because Slay said, is it okay if I tell them that yes, I'll accept it? And I said, that's great, because I don't want Congo moving to St. Marcos Bay. So I was very happy to see that there. So big fighting here. This fleet's obviously always a worry, but Africa, let's have a look. I get into Bayer, which is nice. We bounce over Agadez in case Spain come for it. I finish my core in Ouagadougou, which I'm very happy about. And Congo fully retreat from the Adjuran front, and they look like they're retreating from the Portugal front as well. Which means that Portugal get into Matamba for free. And they convoy into Benguela.
Yeah, I don't think they look like they're just retreating everywhere except against you.
Yeah, it's... So this is why I look at this and I think, well, was it worth stabbing Congo? Because it got this reaction, so...
Yeah.
And nice little convoy from Cape Coe up to Benguela with a French fleet, so... And Portugal's taking Mapondo, so... France and Portugal have really worked their stuff out. They're still working together against Adjuran. They're making a little bit of progress, but let's go to Europe before I scroll too far east. Ottomans get back into Tunis, which is nice, and into Tripoli. So Spain completely misplay this here by trying to move Tamba west. Ottomans is now making strides against Spain, and I'm very happy to see it. Adjuran get back into Hawara, so Spain is crumbling in the area, and Spain need friends every single place they can. France get into...
And I don't think they're... Are they allied with anyone? Oh, they're allied with Ayutthaya.
They are allied with Ayutthaya.
They're their only ally at this point.
Yes. They're even moving on Aymara in South America, so they don't even have that friend anymore. So I convinced Portugal to let me cover Porto, because it was 50-50 on Lisbon and Porto. So I was very happy that Portugal let me do this. I was sad to see that Spain went for Porto, because I would have quite liked to get Porto, because it's pretty hard for Spain to take it back. And I was kind of saying, I think it was, at some point I was talking about Portugal supporting me into Porto so that I could help them against Spain or something, but I think that might have been later.
That I don't think would have made sense, but this is a pretty good move for Portugal as well.
It was next
Either way, it's a 50-50.
Yeah. When Spain eventually gets into Lisbon, and I ask Portugal to support me into Porto so I can support them into Lisbon, I think is what I said. But that's later. Sweden work against Russia, which I'm very happy to see, because Sweden once again could stab me, could be taking dots, and yet they start coring another province again. Sweden did so many fucking cores this game, and they completed coring Königsberg. Sweden support France against Austria, which is lovely. So I finally convinced Sweden and France to start working together, and the idea here is that Sweden will come and support France into Ireland. Fleets come out, and the idea with these fleets being where they are is that we're going to look to convoy armies into Spain, and my army in London is going to come into Spain and properly start threatening these dots. So I'm liking this, because this is a way that I can turn the European-Spain war into me getting dots, which is really nice. So I'm very happy about this. I convoy Bremen to Bremen, is what this order is, and I take it on a ride on both of my fleets that are just sitting there doing nothing, because at this point I don't want to stab either Sweden or France. and so my fleets are sitting there doing nothing. And I originally was talking about moving to English Channel and France moving to Bay of Biscay, but they didn't want to do this for some reason, so they wanted to come to English Channel. I think they were worried about maybe me stabbing Plymouth, so we agreed to it this way.
You're not helping them much in English Channel, so...
No. Yeah. RIP Austria, they are dead here. They go from 4 to 0.
Yeah, they leave Pressburg.
Yep. Actually, I think they technically can. They have a retreat into someone else. They have a retreat into Florence if they want it this turn. Because I think France did not expect to get into Rome. They were just tapping Rome in case it supported Venice. So Austria have a retreat into Florence if they want it. Yeah, so we see Ottomans and Safavids kind of work out their differences. Or maybe it never was a difference and they were always going to peace out. Maybe it was a fake thing. And yeah, so Ottomans stab Sweden. Which is very interesting. So, and it begins this real Sweden-Safavid war that will be a feature of this game. And it starts here with Ottomans stabbing Sweden. So this whole triangle is very, very interesting to see what happens here. Safavids kind of aren't making a lot of progress. They're losing Delhi, but they're getting Burhanpur. They move into Lakhadive Plateau. They take Mara. So Safavids are still growing here. I don't love them moving to Lakhadive because it's closer to me. Portugal obviously has nothing in Cochin. So it's a bit of a worry. And I keep moving against Ayutthaya. So I move to the Sunda Strait to give me a real look at a couple of dots here, because if Ayutthaya want to move against Spain, then I can come in from behind. I get 2 more fleets into the Indian Ocean to go along with my fleet in Sunda Strait, so I have some proper threat on Ayutthaya here. I tap Bay of Bengal as part of trying to stop Ayutthaya properly moving against Portugal. Ayutthaya completely kick Portugal out of China. Portugal take Manila because Spain never covered it. Portugal keep Makassar.
Spain's returning to cover it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's just a lot of not great moves here. Ayutthaya finally gets...
Yeah, that's also why I think it wasn't a throw, because they left the area and then came back right away. I just don't think they were looking into the position very, very deeply.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So Ayutthaya are doing very, very well in the area, and we don't love it. Portugal doesn't get as much as they'd like, but they do keep Makassar. They get kicked out of Manado, which is a bit sad. And Mapuche live on. They go to Wuruk. So Dan...
Why doesn't Portugal cover that? Didn't they have a unit in
no,
in the
that's
province
Guarani.
of... Yeah, what were they covering against? No, Portugal it has in
Flores.
What was were they covering?
Yeah, because Spain can move to Flores.
They needed to cover that. Yeah. Because I remember Mapuche making it to Australia, but I knew Portugal could have defended it.
Yeah, so Portugal's not in South Pacific at the moment, which is pretty rough for them, because they've been moving into Nazca Ridge and all this. So yeah, and Guarani get back into Peru Basin, so they've got a nice position in there over the coast over here now, because they obviously don't have any West Coast cores, so it's a bit rough for them. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with like the South American regionals. You sort of need a lot of armies, because you in order to win you kind of have to kill the other 2 regionals, but then once you do, you suddenly need a lot of fleets, because your entire area is just coastline, and like in South America there are like 2 or 3 Portugal fleets that are holding down like 6 or 7 Guarani armies.
Yep. We see Spain stab Inuits, and we also see you move to Gulf of Anadyr to get Chulchis. Or Chuk.
Yeah, it's part of the Inuit attack.
Yep, that's a nice little move there. Yeah, that's probably good for moves.
Oh, it might have been here already. It's either here or after builds. where I say to Spain something along the lines of, look, I don't think there is any more piecing us out in North America, but if you want, I can leave North Pacific Ocean, and we can keep fighting in America. I'm not expecting you to piece me out there, but we can have a peace as far as our fleets are concerned, so that you can make progress there, and then I'll focus on the continent.
Yeah. And Spain.
If that happened already, then the entire and they take it because at this point, like, a half piece is better than no piece.
Yep, and everyone is attacking them.
And that might also have something to do with them sort of half throwing or at least aggressively leaving the continental North America.
Yes. Let's have a look at retreats. The one that is most important to me is... Oh, sorry, that's not a retreat, is it? Yes, we convince Portugal to blow up Sargasso Sea because it's not needed. We're making a lot of progress over here, and having Portugal in the area just complicates everything. So we convince Portugal to put their disband there. RIP England, finally off the map. Finally no longer a thorn in France's side. They have died. Yeah, also Catalba gets...
France was pretty happy about that.
Yeah. Catalba gets disbanded rather than retreating to Santee or St. Augustine or anything. So I think this is when Spain's starting to look at not being in North America and not fighting us.
Yeah, I think it's we already had the conversation about the Pacific Ocean peace between the two of us at this point.
And I also start talking peace with Spain here. They kind of half mentioned it, but I said, okay, I've taken Parmovo back. If you disband Broca Pondo, we can look at proper peace. And one of the things I'm implying to them, even at this early stage, because right after we see... Oh, sorry, I'll get to builds first. Let's go to builds. And Spain do disband in Broca Pondo, which I love to see. I'm very happy about this. And I remember that I was talking to you about this because I start implying to Spain that there's a chance that both of us will peace you and do something. And it's pretty clear
you mentioned
something
it to me.
is. Yeah. And I was implying to Spain that there was a world where I could peace them. I didn't outright tell them what I was doing, but it should have been pretty obvious what I was looking at doing here. And it was as soon as we saw builds, and we see no building Carpathian, we see a couple of stuff in Europe here, but I begin looking at stabbing France. And I'm thinking, well, maybe Spain needs some friends, so maybe I can use them in the area. And so I think the two of us being Spain's most unlikely possible friends means that we get this disband in Broca Pondo. Yeah, we finally get some kind of favorable stuff from Spain. So that's kind of the backdrop to that, is that we're looking at talking Spain into piecing us out and letting us stab France. Because at this point, I'm pretty certain that you don't commit to stabbing France, but I'm pretty certain that when push comes to shove, your relationship with them is bad and your relationship with me is good.
Oh yeah, and at this point, I might. I don't think you approached me about stabbing France, right? You didn't talk to me about that at all.
This early, maybe not. It might have been. I floated it at some point, I think, or I might have implied it because we were talking about piecing out Spain and possibly pivoting. So I don't know if it was this early, but I did float to you.
It could have been later. I think I would have been very happy to see you stab France because it gave France something to do. Yeah, I don't think it would have been difficult to convince me to attack France at any point if you stab them. Although right now I really do want to try and build a peace with France, because again, like whenever I looked at the map, any war with France just looked like it would take up like 10 of my armies, and I would get 1 dot every 2 years, maybe.
But hey, what if it's 11 armies? What if you've got this army in Jamestown helping you? So, yeah, I'm thinking I can encourage you into warring France at this point. And the reason I look at stabbing France here is...
you were
dots.
correct.
Yeah, And I need dots to stay in the race. And let's look at the scoreboard to talk about exactly why. Because we've already seen the rise up of the regionals, and here I am in 8th position. We have France, Netherlands, and Spain all on 50%. And we're down in the doldrums, and we see Sweden, Safavids, Ayutthaya rocket up the standings, Guarani, Ute, all up there with Portugal. And it is pretty clear to me that Portugal, France, Netherlands are not all going to win together. And I think probably at this stage, Portugal is the most likely to win. So stabbing France is a great way for me to get some dots to actually stay in the hunt. And I think it was around this time, I may as well bring up a conversation I had with Safavids that I told you about during the game, where Safavids were really, really desperate to get me to stab Sweden because this war between them is starting. And I said, oh, well, I'm just a bit worried that if I stab Sweden, that you will capitalize and Portugal will capitalize and you guys can kind of run away and win the game. And Safavid said, oh, wait, you're still trying to win?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean...
I forgot which conversation you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? If you're, first place is at 64%, 9th place is at 50%. This is anyone's game. Like, anything can happen from here. Any combination of, I'd say, those top 9 nations, maybe not Spain at this point, maybe the top 8, any one of those nations can still win the game.
And even Spain, only for diplomatic reasons. Like,
yes.
Their position is still pretty good. It's just that they've burnt all their bridges.
Yeah. And if you are Safavids, why would you ever admit to the Netherlands that you were not thinking about them being in the win if you want them to do what you want? And they were like, oh, I guess I just wasn't considering impunities with you. And I'm like, why not? I'm at 50% and you're at 54%.
Yeah, if they're saying that to like Inuit or someone who was really unlikely to win at this point, then like it's still too blunt, but at least like not wrong. But to you, it was just like a pretty
a ludicrous
bad
statement
misstep diplomatically.
And, I mean, of course, in my mind, I'm weighing things up, and I'm thinking, where do I get my dots? And of course, if I'm not stabbing France, one of the options is to stab Sweden. Because in Europe, I don't need both of them, and I really have to kind of pick one or the other. And my thinking is that all of this game, I have really profited from a complete non-aggression pact with Sweden, where neither of us are ever attacking each other. And my read from Sweden is that they will never stab me. So a France stab, when we look at the map, makes a lot of sense. And we can look at the board again to have a look at this.
I'm pretty sure I'm already talking to you about stabbing France at this point then.
Yes, we were
because
talking.
I think I'm even pushing you to do it even in the spring phase, because I quite like the idea of the two of us winning together, maybe with Sweden as well, that you flew by me before. And I would like to keep my peace with France, but from looking at the map, the only way I saw you winning with me was if you stabbed France here.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like you needed dots, and France was like the biggest source you could find.
Yeah.
So even though like Safavids was like really weird about saying, "Oh, Netherlands can't win at all," they were correct in that like you had to play pretty aggressively in order to win. So in my mind, that meant, okay, Netherlands needs to stab France if he wants to be a contender for winning. And already in spring, I think I start like nudging you towards it. And then I think in fall, I get pretty blatant about it.
So I remember the way the conversation went, because it was right after builds that basically I was discussing with some spectators, and we kind of decided, okay, now is the time we're going to stab France. So I already knew I was going to do it before you even nudged me. And you were mentioning in chat, oh, I'm so sick of France's press. I'm really annoyed about this move to Anishinabek. And I mentioned, I don't know if I can stab them right now, but it's maybe an option we can look at. And I'm clearly like floating it. And you were like, oh, that's not what I meant. But also, if you want to, I'd be happy to look at that. So, yeah. I was kind of like trying to signpost to you, I might do this. I know we've really spoiled the move ahead, but yes, at this point I'm already looking at the stab, and I want to analyze kind of how the stab looks at this point, because I get Saint Martin out, and it becomes very clear to me that a spring stab is not an option. That I need to do it in the fall, and probably the biggest reason for why that is this half core in Ghent and this half core in London, and also this fleet in the English Channel. So yes, so the idea is I really want to stab them in the fall, but that's difficult because if I am working with them against Spain, and if I don't work with them against Spain in the spring, they will smell a rat. So I've got the unfortunate decision of trying to figure out whether to keep attacking Spain or not right after they have disbanded, because I have promised peace to them. But my idea for this stab is I'm going to get 1 or 2 dots here. I'm going to take New Courland. I might take Bermuda, who knows, or maybe Spain gets Bermuda. I'm going to take Plymouth. I'm going to take Nantes. I'm going to finish these cores and move in. And I'm going to maybe dot Réunion or something like that. So it's a big stab on them. I think it's worth making, but the important point is that I don't think I can make it in the spring, which makes it very difficult in this whole area. That's just the pretext for what we're about to see in spring. Is there anything you want to chat about before we go to moves?
No, give me one.
Lovely. And just by the way, we're breaking our record. This is the 3rd year of this video that we're looking at. So yay us.
Oh yeah, I noticed. We're
yeah. We are.
Yeah, there are fewer players left in the game, so
yeah,
it speeds up, I guess.
I guess it's easy, and we'll probably get 3 years done in this video, which is fantastic. Let's go to the Ute position and have a look at some moves.
Before these moves, I actually peace out Inuit, or at least in press.
Oh.
And then I end up stabbing them.
Oh, that's nasty.
The deal, if I remember correctly, was we were gonna move against France together, and also some like relatively regular stuff, like they keep Chiperian and so on. And I was really torn on this because I was thinking, okay, if I'm attacking France, I need Inuit's help. So if I'm attacking France, this is probably my last chance to do it, because if I kill Inuit, there is just no one pressuring France from the other end, and the stalemate line moves way too slowly to be worth it. The reason I end up stabbing Inuit here is they were growing pretty inactive because like the game wasn't going too well for them, and they weren't available to discuss some things that kind of matter to me. I think if you pan to the left, I don't remember the details exactly. I think I wanted them to leave Ute-Shoshone open. Right. Okay. I think the problem is that as part of the deal, Atapasca was going to disband Denaina so that they can fight France with all the armies we have. And I didn't like that because I really don't want Atapasca to die. Both because I'm fully committed to keeping them alive, as I promised, because they have been nothing but loyal the entire game.
Yep.
And I didn't like the idea of them disbanding Denaina. Because then Inuit, I'm pretty sure Inuit would have just walked into Denaina at some point. And then Atapasca's position becomes really untenable in the east. I wasn't expecting Inuit to move out of Ute-Shoshone, so this is a stab on Inuit, but the main driver here was actually that I didn't want Atapasca to die.
Okay.
And I felt like having them disband Denaina, which they've actually agreed to, if I remember correctly, would have just killed them in the long term. And also, I wasn't. There were other more selfish reasons, like there were some Inuit dots I could take here, and I didn't fully trust. And I didn't completely. I didn't really trust them to work with them because we've been like fighting and stabbing each other all game. So it was much easier for me to just completely clean them up than it was to work with them. And also working with them means I might actually end up piecing out France like I wanted to.
Yeah.
Ooh, there is another important thing here. The French moved to Tutelo.
Yeah.
So me and France get into a pretty long argument here that I end up cutting short because I had exams next morning, so I had to go. But I'm asking them, hey, please don't move to Tutelo again. They're sort of, I don't know, awkward about it. They keep saying things like, well, what is Maryland going to do? It's like, it has nothing to do with Maryland. To which my answer is, well, it has nothing to do with to do in Tutelo either, right? And after a little bit of back and forth, they end up straight up asking me, okay, well, so when are you giving me Cherokee? And
Yeah.
my reaction is, wait, what? I have never agreed to give you Cherokee at all. That was never discussed.
Yeah.
And the Arctic response that was that was clearly implied when we decided on splitting the continent. And this really this argument ends up making me want to work with France a lot less, because the way they approached it really rubbed me the wrong way, where I felt like they were gaslighting me the entire time. I have read their press since, and apparently in their press they were saying that I'm being super greedy in this moment. So I guess I thought they were being greedy and gaslighting me about it. I guess they thought I was being greedy too.
Yeah.
But basically the conversation went from please don't go into Tutelo, you have nothing to do there, with him saying, oh yeah, it's not going to do anything in Tutelo, and then pivoting to, oh yeah, obviously I'm going to use Tutelo to take Cherokee, right? We've agreed to that. Me answering, no, we've never agreed to that. And then like a relatively long fight during which he kept claiming that like obviously he should get Cherokee. And this really rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like there was a better way to approach it from his point. If he approached it with, hey, I know that, so since we are doing the alliance and the continent split, you're growing a lot faster than me. I would really need Cherokee for this to work on my end. If he approached me like that, it would have been much harder for me to say no. I don't know how else to describe the negotiation other than like him gaslighting me, where he kept saying oh yeah, we've already agreed to this, basically.
Yeah.
We end up cutting the conversation short because I have to go, and he says, okay, sorry, but I have to move into Tutelo. And this is where like the negotiation ends. So this was actually and this was all after I've already decided to stab Inuit and told Athapaska which moves to make, and I can't really. I don't really want to be making swaps that include Athapaska's moves in the last minute, because that just makes it more likely for something to go wrong.
And if France is doing this last minute, it's they're trying to bully a dot off of you. And I kind of see what they mean, because like when you look at the vertical line down, including Fort Detroit, Cherokee is also in that hemisphere. So you can see that they might go, well, I keep Fort Detroit, you keep Menominee. That vertical line will be where we split, and Cherokee is there. But obviously for you, you don't want anyone next to the Great Plains.
And that was also part of my argument. Like Cherokee is just really inconvenient for me to be French, because I don't want anything touching GPL. And also, I don't think that vertical line makes sense. That vertical line is very misleading, because the provinces to the left of that vertical line are much larger and much more dot sparse.
Yeah, but also you've got everything over here.
Yeah, but he's getting everything over there. Like, is the idea? I don't remember exactly, but I think if you count if you count the dots along that line, I still think France gets more total. Maybe not if you're keeping some of the dots around Jamestown and maybe St. Augustine, but at least I don't think the split is obvious enough that it should be implied that I give him a dot if we never discussed it.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to walk into Tutelo and then take Cherokee and be like, but we agreed this. And when you called them out and said, don't move to Tutelo, they had to like say something.
Yeah, and also because of these negotiations, I end up filling up Great Plains a lot more than I think I was going to have like one army there, uh, like as a among other reasons just to like peace out France more. But I end up deciding, okay, no way, I need to actually be able to pressure France.
Yep. We see a core in Saltillo start, which, I mean, at this point, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe you are just going to come after Spain properly in the oceans as well. But I'm also kind of thinking all these island dots are mine. Because I'm looking at stabbing France, which means I'm going to have a monster Caribbean. And I'm thinking, well, no, I want these dots. You're getting so much from Spain already. So I don't love this, but I don't complain about it.
Yeah, if you had complained about it, I would have insisted on it.
Yep, totally.
My thought here isn't really like I'm not planning on going after your dots, but I need at least preferably two fleets in the Gulf of Mexico because that is such a nasty region for someone to move into. I wouldn't have budged on this.
Yep, that's totally
And
fair.
also, this is a perfect time to get it because if Spain is tapping it, that means they're sacrificing Chitimacha,
Yes, which they are, because
which they end up doing anyways.
yeah,
But
because they tap Bahamas Channel. Which, yeah. Sorry, before we go there, is there
which
anything
is a
else?
weird guess. Yeah.
Or no, I
No,
think we've covered all
there's a
this.
pretty long
What?
explanation on my part, but yeah,
And
that's everything.
you tap Chukchi C, not Chukchis.
I don't remember why. Presumably, I was just trying to get a better position
I
and
guess you get
expecting them to
kicked
cover
out
it.
of Chukchis anyway, so.
Yeah, and if you pan, I don't remember. Oh no, I don't tap it. I get supported into it. Pretty hard.
Oh, it's the same province, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of
So
sense.
I'm not tapping because I'm losing that in the
And
long
you
term, and I want
backfill.
to
Yep.
guarantee no. Yeah, and
Yep.
it's really important for me to be able to backfill North Current.
Yep. Okay. Looking at all this stuff here on my end now. I get out into Gulf Stream, which I'm very happy about because at this stage I'm thinking I'm stabbing France in full, and I would like to possibly take Bermuda if I can. Although there's obviously a few things surrounding it, I also have the option of maybe moving to Delaware Bay as part of this stab and trying to do some fun things there. So I like getting out into the Gulf Stream. Spain don't go for Catalba, which they could have. I'm very happy about that. Spain cover Baracoa, and I bounce with them in Havana. That's what those arrows are doing. So they bounce me out of Havana. The idea here is we won't go for Bahamas right now because they're probably defending it in full, which they basically are. So if I bounce them out of Havana, then me and France can guarantee Baracoa in the fall, is my press to France. We do get a tap on Sargasso Sea from France, which is nice to stop any kind of supports forwards. I get out into Leeward, which is really nice for covering my area here. And here's where, yeah, I do want to talk about the fact that I had to keep attacking Spain here made it harder for me to be friends with Spain. I mean, obviously, but
I mean, yeah.
Spain trusted me more than they really should have at this stage, and they properly believed we were full piecing. And I thought they were not going to trust me as much, and I thought that Colin Ridge would move to Panama. And I thought that this move set would be beautiful because we would blow up both of these fleets. And we'd just be absolutely dominant in the area. So I supported France into Caracas here as part of this blowing up, and we get into Cartagena and Caracas. Unfortunately, the fleet does get to retreat to Panama, which is a bit sad, but that's okay. So this area goes really, really well for us here in terms of pushing this attack on. I get into Carib, so I am just saying, well, I'm putting together a line here to make sure you can't attack me. We see Spain keep moving towards Guarani. They get Aymara to support them here, but Guarani get Axura. So still clearly drama between Spain and Guarani. We still see Portugal and Guarani fighting, and we still see me say, but Spain. And I'm sitting on this fence once again and not picking sides in this fight. And the whole time as I'm sitting on this fence, I'm worried that the two of them will just realize, hang on, screw this guy. Like, he's not doing anything. He's just letting us fight.
I think this is a very comfortable fence to sit on. Portugal and Guarani have a very long and nasty border, and both of them moving in against you is like hard to pull off and makes no sense in the long term because I don't think they can really coordinate well
Yeah.
in this position. So long as you're not pissing off Portugal elsewhere, I think this is a perfectly fine position to sit on.
Yeah. And I really ride this whole idea that Portugal can't afford to stab me, because I basically say, okay, I need Moritstad back. I need my SAO presence back. And Congo had disbanded their fleet in SAO, I think, but I was still saying, like, Guarani could stab me. You can't afford to cover Moritstad here, so I'm going to take it. And it's my pre-course, so that's me taking Moritstad back. Yay me. Yeah, Guarani are already in Todos, and they also move into Guanbara Bay and into Laclano, so they're starting to get some real pressure on Portugal's dots here. Portugal support themselves into Roggeveen, trying to get some dots here. Tucapel's open, Huape's open. There's a little bit of a guess around here, but Portugal do not get into Bahia Grande, which are well protected by Guarani, because they guaranteed get dots down here.
Yeah.
So this whole front is very, very messy, and I am happy not having to pick a side. While I've got the justified, I am working against Spain, and they have worked against me the whole game. So in this spring, I am not stabbing France, I am working with them. Africa here, I'm very worried about Congo here, because they are moving fully against me. And I'm worried Gold Coast is going to try and move to Notse and try and move to Great Ardra and all this stuff. So I do a really defensive move set here to make sure they can't get into Notse. So I cover Notse from Cormantin. I support them into Sao Tome. That was to try and break a self-bounce if they were self-bouncing over Sao Tome. It didn't matter. But I defend Gulf of Guinea here rather than move into Loango, because they can, of course, just support themselves into Gulf of Guinea. But in Notse, not only can they not move to Notse, but I can support Gulf of Guinea from Notse if I need to. So Fernando Po is freed up to move. I'm happy I get into Sanga here. I correctly bounce over House of States with Congo. I picked that they were going to go for that and not try and support Tobiah. But also I defend against Bayer if it happens. So I'm happy about this. I also correctly picked that Spain will not walk into Agadez, because they're piecing me out.
Oh yeah, that was a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, it was completely a gamble.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that you were piecing them out, because at no point during the game did I think you two were piecing out. So that's completely new to me now.
Yep.
Every time you mention it, I realize it again.
Yep. And I'm very happy that I'm able to bounce over House of States here and not worry about Agadez. It was a calculated risk, but it paid off. Yeah.
I see what you mean, though, about like the Congo stab not working for you, because pretty much all it accomplished is Portugal and Ajuran profited from it a lot, and you got 1 dot.
Yeah, Portugal profited early, and now we see Congo really throwing to Ajuran, which is completely justified. Yeah. And yeah, it brings Ajuran back into the game, really. So Congo keep working against Portugal. So they're not only throwing against me, they're also throwing against Portugal, which is nice, because at stages last year,
they're kind of fighting Portugal where they can.
Yeah, well, Congo were trying to support Portugal against me, and then Portugal lied to them. So Congo now no longer trusts Portugal. And Portugal's marching in. So I'm glad that it's not just me. And Ajuran start getting thrown to, which Ajuran are very unhappy primarily with Portugal and France with this attack. Yes, I dotted them in Seychelles, but that was one thing. So primarily they're unhappy with France and Portugal. Ajuran are talking to me quite a lot about trying to get me to stab Portugal. And
why can't my neighbors get over dotting them for 1 dot?
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, because they said, just use it against Portugal. Like,
not only that, like, 1 Ajuran dot is a lot more than 1 France dot. I would just like to point out.
Yes, that is correct. Ajuran keep trying to get me to stab Portugal, and I say to them, look, I'm looking at moving against one of the 2 people attacking you. And it should be pretty obvious what I mean when I'm not just telling them I'm stabbing Portugal, because if I'm stabbing Portugal and I tell them, they're not leaking that. But if I tell them I'm stabbing France,
Yeah.
they may well leak that and try and use France against Portugal and me. So I'm not going to tell them I'm stabbing France, but I'm telling them I'm going to stab one of them, and they make it really clear they want it to be Portugal. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, Adjaran and I start talking more because I start saying like, hey, I'm happy for you to mop up all these Congo dots. We've never had any issues. I get why they're throwing to you. I hope it doesn't mean that we have to fight. And so this is why I'm talking to them about I'm going to stab one of the people attacking you, because I want to start being friends in Adjaran in a post-Congo Africa, because Congo's dying. Let's be real. I've got resources I can throw at the wall against them. France is moving into Walvis Ridge. It's not looking good.
Yeah, and it's this fall phase that I start very openly telling you, dude, you need to stab France here, which I don't think you ever. Yeah, you never explicitly say it to me. I remember I was thinking at the time, okay, Netherlands is very obviously stabbing France if they're trying to win. I remember being a little bit annoyed that you wouldn't just flat out tell me.
I think I even told you at one point I'm not stabbing France.
Yeah.
And because I was really worried you were going to turn it around, because you were still attacking English.
Which I didn't believe for a second.
Yeah. And you said, I'm not stabbing. And you said, wait, not even Portugal? And I'm like, yeah, because you really just wanted stuff to happen. And particularly for me to stab France. So I lied to you. But yeah.
I don't remember asking about Portugal.
But
I wanted you to. The main reason I was pushing you against France was because that was the only way. You needed to stab someone to have a shot at winning here, and I sort of wanted you to do well.
Yep, and particularly it starts really sorting it out from being like there's 9 nations who can win to like really start smalling down the pack when things like that happen.
Yeah.
So this moveset here, I make an unfortunate misorder here because the plan that France and I come up with here is to double convoy into Spain. And the idea is that I'm going to convoy London to Galicia, and France is going to convoy Nantes to Navarre. And I forget that we changed our minds, and I forget to change Iberian Currents order. So I end up accidentally bouncing myself in English Channel. And this is a misorder for mine and France's plans, but obviously I want to be in English Channel if I'm stabbing France. So it's also unfortunate for me that I'm not in English Channel here. So yeah, once again, unfortunate.
But if anything, it makes the stab harder to see because if you're stabbing, clearly you're going to English Channel.
Exactly, yeah. And I leave Wad and Sea here because, of course, there's still the chance that Sweden is stabbing me here. I'm worried at every single phase that it might happen, and that's one of the reasons I like stabbing France in the fall, is that if Sweden stabbed me in the spring, I don't have to stab France.
Yeah.
So I still leave Wad and Sea there, I still leave Bremen there. I finish these 2 cores, which is lovely. France moves in towards Ireland, which means they are unlikely to defend Plymouth. Here, they are unlikely to interfere with me here because I'm convoying into. I no longer am I convoying into Galicia, but the idea is that my fleet will now support Nantes to Galicia to make sure we get the convoy off, because there's all sorts of shit going on here. Yeah, and this is where I was trying to talk to Portugal at some point about maybe supporting me into Porto in the fall, because I could get into Porto and then support them back into Lisbon, because Spain's getting into Lisbon. But Portugal don't like that idea for some reason. Yeah.
Weird.
Very bold of me, but
can you tell me how come you and Sweden never established like a bounce over Lubeck?
We did because for a little bit, but after
in your
a while,
position, I feel like
after a while we kind of just started trusting each other in full, and I was quite happy to kind of leave that there, because if I ever want to move on to them, I can walk into Lubeck and it's pretty bad because I then get to build in Bremen. So I was happy for it to be set up with the assumption that we don't have to bounce every phase in case I want to, for instance, move Bremen towards France. I don't know who would ever want to do something like that, but maybe I do want to be setting up that we're not stabbing. So I'm fine with no bounce. Fleets continue to move out of the Baltic Sea. out this way, Scania, Gothenburg, Christiania. Very happy with this, as Sweden is establishing themselves up here. They are going to take... I think they're looking at taking Ireland as well, and I'm convincing Sweden to start working against... I don't think I've convinced them to work against France yet, but I'm kind of gearing them towards that as well. Sweden continued to keep pushing.
There is, I think it was a little bit before this, where you mentioned to me that Sweden might be interested in fighting Inuit in Greenland. And if you
Yes.
pan to Greenland, I reach out to them at some point, talk about like, oh, would you be interested in fighting, in like taking over Greenland, stuff like that. And they seem really disinterested in the idea.
Okay.
And at some point in our conversation, I realized that the way I was phrasing things made it sound like I was asking them to fight France.
Yeah.
This was, I think this was a phase before where I was really hoping to peace out France. So at some point in our conversation, I go, oh, just to clarify, I'm expecting Inuit to take over Greenland, and I'm asking if you're interested in fighting the Inuit.
Yeah.
Because I know that like Sweden has been working with France, and I really don't want like them mentioning to France, oh, by the way, Ute is scheming something.
Yeah, and I'm, of course, very interested in Sweden having somewhere to go, because they keep saying, oh, my fleets are going to come out here and I'm going to try and fight the Inuits. And that's why I'm like, okay, Ute, talk to Sweden and make them think it could happen.
Yeah.
Because obviously the other place that Sweden's fleets are going to go is right towards me.
Yeah, once I clarified that I was talking about Inuit, they became more receptive to it. Before that, they were like, I don't know, Greenland doesn't look that nice this time of year.
Yeah, because I had driven Sweden and France to work together, and that was mostly out of a desire to have Sweden keep fighting Russia. And Russia's gone now, so I no longer have much need for Sweden and France to be friends. In fact, I really don't want them to be friends because they could team up against me. So, yeah, but at this stage, I don't think Sweden's thinking anti-France at all. But yes, we've got things really nicely set up because Paris is vacant. It's going to go to Galicia. It's convoying in. And yeah, Nantes is going to be open accordingly. So let's keep looking through. I think we covered all of Africa. Sweden and Safavid stuff. Ottomans are still fighting Sweden. I take Palembang, which I'm very happy with. Ayutthaya gets wrong, and they tap the spot that is moving to Palembang. So unfortunate guess from them. If they tapped in 01, it wouldn't have come off. So, and I managed to get into Cocos Basin and bounce them out of Cholamandalam. So it's a really nice here because I've got pressure on Aceh, even though they're still moving out. It's looking pretty good here. So maybe this was a mistake here, and I was being governed by my anti-Ayutthaya emotions a bit more than I was, because if I'm properly looking at stabbing France, maybe I don't want to take Palembang. Maybe I want to actually just flood Eno, kind of hold myself, and then look at pivoting.
Probably, especially because I don't think you're keeping Palembang.
Yeah.
If you keep it now, you're not keeping it next year. And I think flooding Indian Ocean would have made Ayutthaya much less likely to fight you, because it's really annoying fighting someone through one of the great seas who is already occupying it.
Yeah. But I mean, we see here that Ayutthaya is still doing anti-me moves, and they're moving to Cholamandalam to try and get Madurai. So, like, I can't completely just ignore them.
Oh no, I think like the two moves above Indian Ocean are fine, but specifically taking Palembang, it probably would have been better if Sunda Strait went to Indian Ocean.
Yes. And particularly, I want to be in position to make sure Seychelles is covered and possibly look at Réunion. So I probably misplayed a little bit here, but this is what happens when people piss you off, is that you feel motivated to try and attack them. And so because if I say to Ayutthaya, like, don't support Spain into Java, and then Ayutthaya supports Spain into Java, and I don't then punish them, my word kind of loses a bit of its power. So I kind of felt like, well, I've told them, like, fuck you. I kind of need to follow through on it and attack Palembang.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's understandable. And also, even if it is a misplay, it's not a big one, and it's not an obvious one.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like Ayutthaya is up there as well, growing. So I kind of also want to slow them down so that they don't run away with the game. So I don't
Mm.
hate it if I can kind of make things a little bit annoying to them, because I mean, let's be real. Who has properly given any resistance to Ayutthaya this game?
Oh yeah, nobody.
No one. Like, I mean, maybe Ming at times, but absolutely no one else has given proper resistance to Ayutthaya except me. Here,
Mm.
definitely not Spain, not really Portugal. They kind of did it for a little bit, but they didn't hold on to their colony for very long after Ayutthaya came for it. So, yeah. So I take Palembang, and France gets 2 more fleets into the Indian Ocean, which I think was part of my like judging, like, oh, I'm not going to flood the Indian Ocean because France had already told me they were going to.
Mm. Yeah, in that case, it gets a bit weird explaining to France why you forced yourself into the Indian Ocean.
Exactly, and where else are France going to go? Because they're not going to attack Portugal.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
And
in that case, I think you did the right
yeah,
move.
and France were already like privately to me admitting that they didn't see much future in the Adjuran attack. So they were looking at trying to peace out with Adjuran and kind of just leave it, which I didn't love because I wanted France to keep attacking Adjuran while I then stabbed France and Adjuran loves me, was my idea.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so that's that. Portugal and Spain and Ayutthaya are doing some bullshit. Spain kind of come back into Asia for a moment. Tokugawa supports Ayutthaya against Ming. I mean, who fucking knows? Like, yeah, Inuits continue to attack Qing. I think that's spring moves.
Ming is turning into Korea.
Yeah, I don't think there's any big retreats that matter. Oh, was there? I think I did miss that. Spain tried to convoy Galapagos to the Kuril Islands.
Oh, I completely forgot they did that.
Yeah. Oh wait, and I think it happens, doesn't it? Yes.
It should,
Galapagos
yeah.
gets convoyed to the Kuril Islands. Well done, Spain.
I completely forgot that.
You can't take Al Ainu because Al Morey is open. So what are you trying to achieve?
Wait, no, Almora is not open. What do you mean?
Al Morey is. Oh, Ainu's not next to Al Morey. Okay.
No, no, no.
Yeah. Okay. Then it's fine. Yeah, they can take Ainu. Yep. Okay. Yep. Cool convoy. Well done, Spain. Anything you want to discuss before we do it?
No, I think most of my stuff is in moves.
Yep. Let's go. And once again, we'll start with the Ute position, and yeah.
I don't think there is anything much to talk about here. The bounce with France is arranged. I am supporting myself into Muskogee. Which France taps Cherokee here, which is annoying. It does nothing other than prevent me getting into Muskogee. I forgot they did that. It ends up not mattering because Spain does a very beautiful convoy
Yeah.
into Cuba. I was very glad to see. And honestly, it didn't even strike me as odd in the moment because I think I was just too glad to see, oh, yeah, they decided there's no point staying in North America. They're defending in the Caribbean. This makes complete sense on their end. In retrospect, this is like they could have defended that spot for a lot longer than they did.
Yes, they could. And this is a really, really good year for you here. I think you go +6 in memory.
That much?
Yeah, I believe it's
Uh,
plus. It might. I don't want to go to the scoreboard
yeah, I'm
yet.
taking Mexico City, Chitimacha. Yeah, I'm taking a bunch here.
You're taking Hawaii.
Plus 5 or 6, definitely.
Yes, I think it was +6.
Oh, Hawaii as well. Then it's 6. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a really, really
sorry.
strong year from you.
Yeah, this is a good year for me.
Yeah.
France is still being annoying, but at least they've left Anishinabek.
Yeah.
Anishinabek.
And I do want to just raise one point because I mean, spoilers. You can already see it on the map. I stabbed France.
Yeah.
What of your moves here. What of your +6 this year has anything to do with me?
What do you mean?
Am I enabling you to go +6 here at all?
Oh no, was someone complaining that you're throwing to me?
Yes, Safavids immediately was like, oh, well, what is it? This is
What?
one phase after they've said that they didn't think I was going for the win. They start saying that they think I'm throwing the game to you. And I'm like, what?
That's just nonsense.
Yeah, nothing I did here enabled you to go +6. And I mean,
I guess very indirectly by attacking France,
yeah,
you're making
and
it possible for me to
no, yeah,
go after them.
but I attacked
you're
them
also
here. That
getting like
doesn't
7 dots off of France.
Yeah, like nothing. Me attacking France right now doesn't change the fact that you're going +6 here this year. None of that has anything to do with
Yeah,
it.
no.
And I think a lot of people just saw you go +6 and assumed that I was like that shit was happening. So yeah,
I think Starcat was just unhappy to see France weak when I'm growing that strongly.
but Safavids should be starting to look at who they can win with here. And this is where I think Travis's eyes were off the ball, because I was talking to them about like, okay, who's making the win? And Travis just was like, oh, I think you're throwing to Ute. And I'm like, can you talk to me without being angry, and we can talk about possibly winning together, because both of us are doing well. You're antagonizing me for seemingly no reason.
I feel like that's weird on their part, because you were very active in press pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
And if someone is throwing, I don't think they would be nearly as active as you were. I think that's just a complete misread.
And also,
misread on his
how
part.
am I going? I mean, I don't want to spoil the scoreboard, but I do all right this year. I'm not sure I'm throwing.
Yeah. No.
Because yeah, you go +6, and let's just say that wasn't the biggest plus that happens this year. Yeah, so you're doing really nicely here. France moved out of Anishinabek as well, so that's very good for you. Athapaska take this province here that I'm not going to pronounce as well.
Which one?
This one.
Wait. Oh, right. Yeah. I think it was probably before. At some point. Oh yeah, it was before I was fighting Inuit. At some point, both France and Inuit mentioned to me in the same phase that they really want to kill Athapaska at this point, which I just immediately leaked to Athapaska, because I genuinely selflessly wanted them to do as well as they could, even though it was in my best interest as well.
Yes.
But France is moving against them completely here, which they gave me a heads up, like along the lines of, I know they're your vassal, and I told them that that's completely fine, because there is no way that we're splitting the continent, and I'm also asking them to leave Athapaska on 2 dots that should be his if we're following the split. So he's attacking Athapaska. I'm warning Athapaska about it, but I can't really help him.
Yeah, I want to comment and say that I think this is one of the things that really works well in your play here, is that I think it's not just me, and it's also Athapaska here, that because you like them and you genuinely want them to do well, yes, of course it's in your best interest for these things to happen as well, but your press does give the impression that you genuinely want to see the people you're working with succeed as well. And that comes into things later in the game as well. But I do want to just comment that it's not often in diplomacy that you can believe that someone genuinely wants you to succeed. And I got that sense from you in this game, and I think clearly Athapaska also got that sense from you in this game.
Yeah, I was hoping, at least when it comes to Athapaska, I was pretty adamant that I wouldn't stab them pretty much no matter what. With you, I wanted you to do well, but it was much less like it was a okay. If I had to, I could stab Netherlands, but I would much rather win with them.
Yep. Of course, and it rings well in your praise here. Let's have a look at this convoy, because I mean, let's remember
beautiful, very rational, tactical.
Yeah. And Spain are probably pretty unhappy with me about the spring moves and are going to trust me less than they did. But also, I will say that coming into this, I kind of tipped them off that I was stabbing France. because I said, well, I'm going to move out of Cartagena. You can take that back, and I am going to support you to Bermuda.
Okay,
So
with everything we've talked about today, I understand more why they were pissed at you because I was dishonest with them pretty much for the vast majority of the game. Everything past year 3 was me bullshitting them basically, but it was only obvious in like one moveset that I was stabbing them. So I think my moves came off to them as me trying to work with them and then giving up and stabbing them.
yeah,
Uh,
but also
and
clearly
you, on the other
Spain,
hand,
Spain clearly still believes me to some
yeah,
extent because they go to Bermuda. So I mean, they aren't fully anti me, and yet they convoy to Havana. So I mean, what on earth?
I mean, if you're being honest about not attacking them, the army in Havana is just keeping you honest.
Yeah,
It is a weird move.
but it's
I
just
sort of
so
understand why they
pro-Lieutenant.
were more aggressive towards you, but it's. I'm less confused by it now
Yeah,
than before. I didn't know that you had. I didn't know that you had stabbed them like this phase or like the phase before. I didn't know you two were that
yeah,
seriously
I did
piecing
stab
out.
them the phase before. Yeah, and this was what was unfortunate about knowing the France stab needed to happen, but knowing it needed to happen in fall because it meant that I had to kind of
Yeah.
boost Rain around like this. But also, I do want to comment and say that this phase came at a really unfortunate time for me because I was very, very busy the day the deadline was coming. And I was visiting London at the time, and I was out the whole day with a friend seeing a whole bunch of stuff. And we went to a bar, and it was like, getting back to the train station and making sure she had to go back to Manchester. So I was like making sure she got on the train and everything up at like fucking 4 a.m. Like, as the deadline was approaching, I was on my phone on about 10% battery at the train station in the freezing cold, pretty drunk.
Oh no.
And it was not the best place to be to really make sure I can pull off a big stab. And this affects a couple of things, and probably the most important of them is that it was about 2 hours before deadline that I agreed to support Spain into Bermuda, and or at least that they agreed to go for Bermuda, and I forgot to change the order. I genuinely wanted to be as pro Spain as I could here to make sure that I was telling them the truth this phase, and I forgot to support them to Bermuda.
Mm.
And not only that, it's not just the Bermuda misorder, but I also sniped Baracoa, which I didn't need to do. If I'm piecing out with Spain, I should not be taking Baracoa here. But like France and I had set up for me to be getting Baracoa, and I thought if I'm stabbing France here, I want as many builds on the board as possible. And this is probably a rookie mistake similar to your rookie mistake when you went for Menominee, in that I wanted the dot for the
Maybe.
build, and it made people dislike me
Yeah.
because in a parallel universe, let's come down here. I do move out of Cartagena because I'm taking Caracas, and we'll analyze that a little more later. But I do follow my word here. In a world where I don't take Baracoa and I support Spain into Bermuda, and it's obviously in my best interest for Spain to go to Bermuda because it gets them away from me and it takes a dot off of France, and I don't want France having any troops that can build this year. If I do both of those things, I think there's a world where Spain and I can work together.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big mistake. I didn't know you two were arranging that sort of stuff. The one build in Baracoa I don't think was worth it.
Yep.
Because you probably can flip Spain after this without if you don't stab them.
That is correct. Yeah, I think going for Baracoa was a big mistake, and obviously the misorder was also unfortunate. I think the two of them compounded into Spain just saying, "Okay, fuck you." And
Yeah.
I get
And
it.
also, there is no way they're believing you're misordering Bermuda if you also took Baracoa.
Well, I mean, when you look at the map, it is good for me to get them into Bermuda regardless of if I'm piecing them, because it
Yeah,
takes
but
a dot off of
I'm not
France
trusting you
and it
just
gets
on
them.
that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, and it was a genuine misorder because I agreed to do it with them, and I was drunk at a train station and did not put the order in to support them into Bermuda. And I looked at it and I went, "Oh fuck, I didn't support them in." So, second misorder of the game from me. Not great. But what I will say, I was very happy that I figured out these tactics, and I figured these ones out in advance. Was that the way to blow up the Caracas fleet was to convoy Pamerbo to New Coolant? Because I was basically risking Pamerbo, but I think it was worth it. Because I get this army in Pamerbo that kind of doesn't have much to do here if I'm piecing Spain or whatever. It gets it into New Coolant, which means my fleet's still here to cover Guiana Current if someone goes for it or whatever. So I was very happy with this
really
convoy. I'm happy with blowing this fleet up. And Spain gets back into Cartagena. I take Caracas, which I'm very happy with, because I'm basically not losing a dot here by moving out of Cartagena, because I'm denying France a dot here. I'm also dotting them here. I'm also dotting them here, and they don't get to build in Cap Haitian. So I'm very happy with this Caribbean moveset, except for Bermuda and Baracoa, which I particularly Baracoa I really regret. Let's keep going through. I get into Shipibo, which is lovely, because Spain clearly don't trust me enough. I think they peace with Guarani, but Guarani keeps going. I'm very happy to see Guarani keep going at Spain, because Quito and Lima are both vulnerable.
If you're trying to peace out Spain, why the move to Shipibo?
Yeah, good point. God, I'm such a wanker, aren't I? Oh my god. Yeah, I think I might have decided not to fully peace them.
Then Baracoa makes more sense if you're not actually piecing them and are fully stabbing them. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But Bermuda definitely was a misorder. But yeah, I think this was me having my cake and eating it too, and deciding to keep. Because I remember I said to you when we were planning this, because you and I basically, like, I told you I was stabbing France, but then I told you I wasn't. But you knew I was, and you said I'm not going to stab France this year, but if you start it, I'll follow in. And because we'd, of course, been talking about both piecing out Spain this phase, which I think you start to do with them convoying out. So
I did not. I had nothing to do with that convoy. I wasn't expecting it at all.
And I said
my piece with them involved the North Pacific Ocean.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I remember I said to you, like, do we need to piece out Spain to attack France? And you said, I think we do need to piece out Spain to attack France. And I said, I'll rephrase. Do you need me to piece out Spain for us to attack France? And you said, ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
actually, I don't think so. So you're happy to get on fine with Spain, which sucks for me because then I'm the enemy and Spain likes you more and dislikes me more. But yeah, I probably should have tried to piece out Spain here, but I guess I was also thinking, like, I want their dots. And Spain had
it's not completely unreasonable because sure, getting them to flip is pretty good for you, but also, like, the whole point of the French stab is you want enough dots to win the game.
Yes.
And you're not doing that without also killing Spain here. So, if you're trying to flip them here, it's in order to stab them a year or two down the line. And if you keep attacking them, like, you are making ground here while fighting France.
Yeah.
So, it's not obvious that it would have been better to try piecing out Spain, especially if it's uncertain if you can piece them out.
Of course, yeah. Obviously, the one thing I don't want happening is Spain and France to start working together. But which is the other argument in favor of me piecing out Spain, is that it doesn't. It means that, and certainly the argument for me supporting Spain into Bermuda is that it makes it less likely for France and Spain to get on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so big misorder. Yeah, stuff's happening. Portugal take Chiloe. Well done. People are taking dots. Good job. Yeah, France gets supported into Ireland. I take Plymouth. I take Nantes. So the convoy goes into Galicia, and I take Nantes. Lovely. My core in London is finished right as I move out, so it's free for a build. My core in Ghent is finished right as I move out, free for a build. I move out of Ghent. I moved out of Bremen. No Lubeck shenanigans. very happy to see this, and I move everything down towards France right as they move everything down towards Spain. Unfortunately, France get into Barcelona, and France did better this phase than they had any right to do. And it's a bit of a recurring theme of just stabbing someone thinking they're not going to get any builds, and then they do well enough that they do get builds. Because, of course, I don't want any build in Paris. And my whole plan is...
That was my experience with every colonial I was fighting the entire game.
Yep, they
Why
always...
are they still getting builds? Everyone is killing them.
Exactly. And France lose so much, but they get Ireland, they get Barcelona, like they're getting stuff, I think, in Africa as well, and it's just sad. Yeah, looking at Africa here, once more, Spain does not go for Agadez, which I was really surprised by. I thought they would. Adjuran helped me against Congo.
That's nice to see.
Why the fuck are Adjuran helping me against Congo when Congo is throwing to them? It doesn't feel like a great plan.
Because Congo is going to die soon anyways. And do you know that Congo was like explicitly throwing to them in their press?
Yeah, like they were clearly moving away from... They were clearly throwing against me and Portugal, which means that Adjuran's the one to pick up the pieces. So Adjuran weren't really going to gain any more.
But Congo also moves out of Nagala here.
Yes. I think they knew it was...
Or
maybe?
Was the assumption that like Adjuran would be taking it?
Yeah, maybe. And maybe Adjuran... yeah.
I have to assume Adjuran thought... because I think from Adjuran's perspective here, they don't get much more by having Congo throw to them. They can't take Nagala. Or no, they could if Congo supported from Bango, I guess.
So your view would be that it would not be smart for Adjuran to keep moving towards me here. Is that correct?
I don't really know, because I don't know what their press is like with all of their neighbors. I think attacking you is probably the best way for them to get enough dots to be competitive for the win, but they might also feel like they need you on their side because France and Portugal have been attacking them for a couple turns now.
Yeah.
So, on balance, I would probably say they should be attacking you here, but it's not obvious, and there could be good reasons why they didn't.
Yeah. I was very happy because I'd been telling them I was going to stab someone, which I think might have been the other thing. So, but
then especially, if they're expecting you to pick a fight with someone, why interfere?
Yes, and I think they thought I was going to stab Portugal, but I stabbed France, which is the person they were actually like piecing out with, and we can see France trying to move away from Adjuran here. And unfortunately, France get dislodged in Somali Basin. And they can retreat to safety. Yeah, not good. But yes, I tried to go to Crozet Basin because I knew they were going to cover Réunion. Or I think they'd said they were self-bouncing Réunion, so I tried to go to Crozet Basin to snipe Fort Dauphin or Barra or something. And they cover it, so that's unfortunate. I move Cocos Basin back again because I think at this stage I'm trying to either bounce them out or whatever, but I know I'm not going to hold this.
Could Altaya not have forced Palembang?
They probably could have, but I think they thought I was tapping a bunch of stuff. So because I can also possibly force Java or force Arche or something. So. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
They probably had a better moveset, but I think it's funny because they made a three-way chat right after this phase with me, France, and they said like, "Hey France, I'd just like it to be known that I would have vacated Eno like you asked if it wasn't for Netherlands cutting my support." And France said, "Have a look at the map, Ayutthaya." And everyone was like, "Oh fuck, they just stabbed you." Like Ayutthaya fully just looked at their own moves, didn't look at anything else, didn't realize that I had just full stabbed France, and made a group chat with the two of us immediately. It was so funny. But yeah, I was sad because I wanted this IU fleet out. I wanted, all of this stuff. So I actually hang on to Palembang this phase, which is good in terms of dot count and all that. And I'm glad that IU is out of the Bay of Bengal because Madurai is a bit safer now. All this stuff. So all in all, the stabbers come off decently well. The Safavids are continuing to make progress. Ayutthaya are continuing to make progress. No one is giving any resistance to Ayutthaya. I mean, yeah, what the hell? Mapuche get up to 2. They take Gulu. But they have no builds. They have nowhere to build.
And I assume the reason Portugal didn't cover it is because they were expecting Mapuche to core. Because why would you do anything other than core here?
Yeah, and I know Slay kept complaining to me about Dan trolling them. It's like, what do you mean? They're getting dots to survive. Like, what's the issue? They're just having a holiday in Australia. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all in all, I'm pretty happy that this stab has come off pretty nicely. And I immediately go to Ayutthaya and I say, like, hey, I'm clearly not going to hold Palembang here. I'm going to blow up Sunder Strait and walk out of Palembang, and you and I can peace finally. Because I've stabbed France and I need to be strong in the Indian Ocean. And Ayutthaya agreed to that. So I was very happy with that immediately. I should mention the last thing is I was, of course, talking to Portugal about this whole Porto thing for ages. And they were asking me, I think they were asking me to, like, support them into Porto or something like this. And I, of course, or they wanted me to maybe cover Azores or something. And no, I think it was Porto. But anyway, they really wanted my fleet in Iberian to do something. And I was like, sorry, it's not free to do that. And they were like, wait, why? Like, what's it doing? And I'm like, oh no, it's needed against, like, the British Isles. And they're like, I don't think you're telling me the truth. And this is, 2 hours before the deadline. And I just decided to, like, full trust them. And so I actually told Portugal, like, an hour before the deadline, I'm stabbing France. And Portugal could have gone to France and out of them. And I don't think Arctic knew this until the end of the game. But, I think it came up at some point, but Slay didn't out me to Arctic when Slay easily could have outed me to Arctic. And Slay decided, okay, Netherlands is going to be huge. We're going to be the 2 colonials that are going to win. And of course, Slay played it off like, oh my god, I can't believe Netherlands did this. Slay knew this was coming. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not moving to Porto, I'm doing something. And they went, oh, fuck. Like, everything's about to change, isn't it? Because they were worried I was going to stab them at like 5 different times. And I think they were still worried I was going to stab them here somehow. And I just said, because I was like, no, I'm not doing that, sorry. And they were like, oh shit, are you stabbing me? And I'm like, no, I can promise you something's happening, but I'm not stabbing you. And I tell them I'm stabbing France, and they realize shit's about to go down. So that was quite funny that I got away with telling Portugal. Let's look at any important retreats. Yeah, so France go to Seychelles, which sucks. But, I mean, hey, it happens. I remember I was, like, posting in the 3-way chat with me in Portugal, and I was like, Portugal, France just stabbed me in Seychelles for no reason. What are you going to do? France is like, shut the fuck up. So, yeah, I'm very happy. I've got build spot open in Bremen. I've got build spot open in Ghent. I can full build Europe. And, let's look at the leaderboard. Yeah. And this was the year of Ute and the Netherlands. This was a massive year for both of us in this. And you go +7, rocket up to top position. I would have been above you on the leaderboard if not for the Seychelles retreat, because I would have gone +9. But +8, and I've gone from Safavids thinking that I was not playing for the win to suddenly being on top of the board 9% out over third place. So this is the kind of year that has to happen.
A lot of room to grow as well.
Yes. Yeah, so Sweden still grow a little bit, Safavids still grow a little bit, Portugal go negative this year again, so they've gone negative 2 years in a row after being board top with a clear margin. So it's a rough time for Portugal. Because I think they're getting
Sweden is
trolled in
doing
this
well,
game.
but Sweden is also having the problem that unless they stab you, they're really slow to grow.
Yeah,
because their border with Ottomans is very, very gridlocked.
Sweden either need to stab me or break the Safavid border, and there's a real argument to be made that Sweden need to stab me. And of course, they can still stab me, but I get +8, which makes it very, very difficult for them to stab me this phase. So they may have missed their opportunity. And we see, -6 Inuits, which is really good for you.
Yeah, that was because of the stab.
Yep.
It just completely destroyed him.
Yep. And -3 Spain. So Spain are going down. France still get 3 builds. I think they blew up a bunch of dislodged units to get builds because they did not go positive this year in terms of centers.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the 7th year of the game, and I think we should leave part 3 of the recap here. We got through 3 years this video.
Yeah, well,
yay us!
50% faster.
Yeah, and this is also a really nice cliffhanger to end this video on. Anyway, both of us have both just had huge years. Tune in to see what happens to the great nations of Ute and Netherlands as the two of them walk hand in hand against their great nemesis France coming into the next year. Yep. Okay.
See you in the next one.
See you guys next time. Lovely.